Welcome to Grog Talk. I'm James.
I'm Dan. And today we are live from the Green Griffin.
The Green Griffin, that's right.
And we need your help. Because James and I were just teleported here.
Right, we were walking around and there was a big ruckus outside. We almost got killed.
Someone is burning.
That's right. Well, you can. At first we thought, what was that smell?
It smells delicious. Isn't it a barbecue joint nearby? I smell bacon.
That's right. And then
this place is awesome.
That's right. Oh, it was
a dude.
That's right. It's never good.
So we jumped in.
That's right.
We were teleported to the street. We don't know where we are.
Right.
So we need your help. And if you know where, I mean, we know that we were on page 193.
Of the DMG, that's right.
But we don't know where our characters are. We got transported to the street. It seemed this dude was shooting a death ray or a fire ray. And we know that we're not good at our saves because we're 0 level fighters. So we dove into this place called the Green Griffin.
I like how you've promoted us to 0 level fighters. I would just say we're 0 level.
Isn't everybody, that's an interesting question. Because I just assumed that everybody, like your nanny, is a 0 level fighter.
Well, I guess technically everyone is 0 level then, yes.
You're like a fighter. You at least can like slap.
Yes, you have basically a 45% chance of hitting another person.
It's kind of rude to fighters, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the men-at-arms, 0 level men-at-arms is the same as a 0 level, but you could be less. I mean, the DM could adjudicate in there. There's less, I think, up to 1-1 or something like that is even worse, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because a 0 level fighter could take on a kobold. That doesn't seem right.
Well, no, the kobold's better, I think. Well,
Okay.
I'll look at the charts when you're done.
Okay, so we don't know where we are, though. So
Right.
well, James was wondering if this is in Greyhawk, the Green Griffin, if it ever appeared again in a module, because all we know is we're at the Green Griffin, and it's quite noisy outside. We're hoping this dude does not come a knockin'. Emrakul, the Chaotic.
That's right. Our dear friend, the Chamberlain Most August from Australia, has said that. He saw it without... He said it was Emrakul, the Chaotic. He knew about
Without
it.
looking, he said.
Well, he saw the page.
Right.
He saw the page and he knew what it was.
So I wonder if... I'm sure people have used Emrakul, but I wonder
sure
if officially he was ever used.
Sure there's a backstory behind that.
Or a front story. After the fact.
Perhaps one of you are the foot darting to the door. Absolutely, that is us. That's
David Thompson. Please tell me, is this just based on memory? Probably.
Well, that's good.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to.
You're up there,
dude looking out, right?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Unless
we were staying across there, and then I ran across, and you're like, "Come back in here, you idiot!" And yeah, well, he's saying I'm this. One of us is this guy running up the opposite.
And that's you.
That's me with the baby. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
That's right. So, all right.
Only because children are. That's way better.
So, but it makes sense because we're having outside. We're here, James and I. Right, we're here, and there's a lot of business going on outside in the real world. It's a little bit like being in the Green Griffin with Emrakul the Chaotic out there because we got a tropical storm.
We do, yes. Well, a week ago the weather was perfect for us. Some of our northern friends were still thinking it was a little warm, but for us it was in the 80s. It was beautiful weather, and now there's a tropical storm going through here again. And they probably would have liked this weather. It's cool and dark. And
I said to my daughter, I said, it's pretty cool down here. I think it's in the 60s. And so, of course, she looks it up, and she's like, it's 78. I'm like, okay, it felt cool.
It felt cool, exactly. Yeah. So, well, really quick, we're back from GrogCon. In fact, Dan and I were talking after this. We're going to do a special video for our patrons. Again, thank you to our patrons who helped fund this last week's episode. So, to all those, we really appreciate it. So we're going to do a special video for you after this, and we'll put that up on Patreon talking about what we liked and some things we are planning to do next year already. We were so excited from how it went that we're already planning for next year.
We are.
So which when 3 weeks ago when we were saying light a candle, we're like...
Well, apparently people lit candles. Thank you for lighting all those candles.
Right. And we did. Someone rolled under 10% divine intervention. So it worked out great.
Yes, we had divine intervention.
We got a small goat. And... you see we have some new items here. We have...
Go Delicious.
Go Delicious, yeah. You see them there? I'll show you. I'll make it... get this out.
Go Delicious, the greatest of all time.
Yeah, there he is. He's clearly seen. Yeah.
The greatest of all time. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Did you notice, because, I got to show how clever I am, right? So the graceful time has a little asterisk.
Except for up to, you should have said up to.
Right.
Up to last week.
And it said
2 weeks ago.
Except for that red dragon.
Right.
So, go delicious for new listener. I'm sorry, a new listener. If there is a new listener out there, Go Delicious was our champ in the Random Monster.
Right.
He was a fan favorite. Can I say that?
I think you can.
Well, I'm a fan.
Yeah, and
he's a favorite of mine. He's a fan favorite. I was so excited about Go Delicious, the giant goat who was 2-0, who ate a knoll and ate a dwarf.
Yep.
Until he ran into he went in the wrong cave.
I think he was in the middleweight class and he went to heavy. He was trying to move up.
He was trying to move up. You're absolutely right. He was a giant goat. He tried to become like a humongous goat or something.
And that was a mistake.
He wanted to do it the wrong cave, found a red dragon, tried to parlay, which in I think it wasn't a bad idea. It bought him a little bit of extra time on this.
The parlay was fine. The attacking with 4 segments of surprise as opposed to running for his life.
But you can't. But that's the segment. It can't.
Right.
Are you suggesting that in the random encounter segment that you can flee and stay champ?
No, you can't flee and stay champ. But you'd be
alive.
Yeah,
you'd be alive and not champ.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
So,
but can think about it. Is not a meal for the other guy.
Well, that's right. It wouldn't be rest in peace. And as you've noticed, no, this is not, as you suggested, like some rainbow goat.
I thought it was a rainbow goat.
No, this is dwarf and knoll blood.
Okay.
He's all stuck in his beard. It's how do you clean it?
Well,
goats clean their beards.
I don't know. Probably they rub against the rocks. So anyone who knows how goats clean themselves, I'm sure they're not as clean as we would hope them to be.
What does he care?
He doesn't.
He doesn't have to impress you. No. He doesn't owe you anything.
He doesn't owe me anything.
All right, so so we got Go Delicious.
That's right.
Did you want to talk about some other awesome?
Yes. So for those who watched last week, there it is in its place of honor. So our Scourge of the North Star State and North Dakota now. By the way, I have extended. I unilaterally did it because we agreed last week that due to all the great tribute that Vic Dorso provided, that we extended his empire to North Dakota.
He just took it over.
Well, he made it as part of, as once he gave tribute of the sacred idol, that he said he wanted North Dakota. So
there was a quid pro quo.
Well, yeah.
Was there a quid pro quo?
I'm totally fine with that. It's our empire.
It happens all the time.
Right, it's our empire, so who cares?
Okay. So, all right, so we've been given North Dakota. So if you are in North Dakota.
That's right. You have a new overlord.
Yes. Report to him.
That's right. And I put it of North Minnesota and North Star State and North Dakota. So they've been annexed.
Okay.
So.
Well, listen, no one from North Dakota stood up in time.
Right.
Right?
That's right. Well, there could have been a patron. All you had to do is be a patron. Nice tie-in. Excellent. You had to be a patron of any level, and from North Dakota, you could have claimed it. Now,
how easy is that, Tim?
Now you're going to have to talk to Vic and see if you can get Fargo or Bismarck or something like that.
But you should still be a patron.
Right. Well, you can't get anything if you don't know how to patron.
That's right. So there is other stuff to have.
Right. It's just you won't have the whole territory.
Okay. All right.
So we have that.
And that's awesome. So thank you so much, Vic, for that demon idol. That is amazing.
Yeah, he painted it. It came out super cool.
It came out super cool. We're so excited about that.
It's in its place of honor, and I have to keep reminding myself not to have my bulbous head.
Well, you know what he did is he saw the episode where we had the fire on your iPad and it slowly slipped down. And he said, seriously. Well, it was great. We didn't know it. I don't know if you've gone back. I haven't watched it, but I sort of wanted to go and watch when it was actually slowly. We just turned around at the end of the episode. Your iPad was laying there.
Well, I propped it up in a way that obviously wouldn't make a sound because it fell down so slowly.
It was very impressive.
We didn't hear anything.
Yes.
Normally you would have slammed down.
I'm surprised how the place didn't catch on fire.
No, well, virtually at least. I think some people would have been happy with that. But yeah, we have some of that. You might also, one thing we're going to be giving away on Twitter is that you see
this is in front of me. Yeah,
that's right. It's over there. It is the porcelain sword of Queen Ashala, which was the GROGCon 2019 official module that Carlos Lysing from Castle Entertainment created for us. And again, thanks to the help of patrons and us. We sponsored it. It was awesome.
It was super fun. Did you go through it?
I did.
I did too. It was super fun.
We did it. You think it was the last thing you got to do for the conference?
I ran his whole time, and then I got to the very last segment. I got to jump into Carlos's game, and I'm so happy I was able to do that.
I'm glad for you too, because you put so much. I mean, again, not talking too much. You put a ton of work at the convention, so I'm glad you got a chance to run it.
And this is amazing. I don't know if you flipped through this.
I looked through a little bit because again, I didn't get a chance, and I mean, how much? It's 35, 40 pages.
It's incredible,
right?
And he turns these out
right
really quickly,
and they're high quality.
And they're high quality. So the tournament, so that was great to have a tournament module. Real excited. Now let me know if that slides in between that.
Yeah, so we're going to give that away on Twitter, and again for our patrons over the next couple weeks, we're going to compile all the for patrons of a certain level. I think it's silver and above. You all will get all the modules that we ran in digital format. So a couple of things we have to scan that we ran, some of your stuff, some of mine. You'll get the Paranoia adventure that I ran, the module that we ran at GROGTALK for the tournament, and the summer tournament, as well as a PDF of this. So 4 great adventures. So again, use them in your campaigns, because again, part of the reason we're doing this is back when we started, or actually when Ed and Dan started, there was no one playing first edition in the area. They started a group, and now we have lots of people playing. We want to do that for you as well. All right, we may have had patrons or reviews on iTunes. If they came in after Wednesday, I didn't see them because I have a conference starting tomorrow, so I had to get I had work. Swedish Challenge, you know, we were doing okay. We were climbing up. At one point, we were almost at top 100 in Japan, Canada, and Sweden. So again, thank you to our patrons out there. We have folks in Japan, we have folks in Canada, Sweden, lots of that stuff. And so I don't know if we have any iTunes reviews. Okay. I think that's enough of that. Let's do our random encounter. Let's sit. Hold on.
Now, something important has happened, right? When we were at GROGTALK,
right?
Carlos Lysing.
Let's do this.
Random encounters.
Okay, go ahead.
Carlos Lysing mentioned to us that the Monster Manual 2 doesn't have, and I know you did find one, right? He said, look, doesn't have Fiend Folio monsters in the random encounter. You did find one, but
yeah, it seems like it's maybe biased, and you know, I think there may be some history between the Fiend. I think
TSR wasn't thrilled with right. They were unhappy,
or they just didn't want to prioritize the British monsters because it was more of a British thing.
I love Brit gaming. Well, I love the Brits, and
when I posted that you were running the White Dwarf.
Halls of
that was not only Halls of Tuesday that you just. In November.
Oh, Aurelian.
That's right, Aurelian. The Fear of the Dark, whatever it's called, Dark Rising.
Yeah, the Dark Rising.
Yeah, that was one of the most retweeted things I had.
Oh, well then, and I don't think we announced it yet, but if they're excited about that, we're going to have some really exciting news very soon.
Good.
Don't you think? You know about the news.
I do.
About it.
I do.
But so Carlos, I love Brit gaming. Let me mention, I just contributed to, I think it's, what's the name of the book? The Dice Men, about Games Workshop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're putting a book together about the history of Games Workshop, right?
Steve Jackson. You need to let me know that.
Yeah, if you you can contribute and you can get a copy. If you have enough money, could we use patron money for this? You can have a lunch, I believe.
Wow.
You got to fly over there. They're not paying for it.
What, to England?
What is it? Is it Steve Jackson and,
I didn't know
and Ian Livingston?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm a huge fan of the Grognard Files and a lot of folks over there, and they know all those folks over there. So
yeah. Have you gotten them to send me Starstone yet?
No.
They need to send me Starstone.
Okay, well, give me a list of everything, and I'll start tweeting and direct messaging to them, and I'm sure they'll get right on.
Thank you. I can buy Starstone for $295.
Wow.
Can we use patron money for that?
No, we're not using it.
But so Carlos Lysing is a big fan of the Fiend Folio.
Yep.
And he was dismayed that Monster Manual 2 doesn't have many Fiend Folio monsters in the random encounter. So he was concerned that the Fiend Folio wasn't getting its due in random encounters.
I think the point we were saying as we talked last week was that at least in the encounter tables that they had here, it wasn't as, if you look at page 133 in Monster Manual 2, of the, just anecdotally, it's I don't think it's split thirds, meaning 1/3 Monster Manual, 1/3 Monster Manual 2, 1/3 Fiend Folio. There are some Fiend Folio things in here, but they're not equivalent.
Oh, and I'd just like to mention too, if we talk about random encounters, be impressed with some of it. I tried to drop in the tournament module. You may have noticed there was a giant goat in there.
Right.
There were gargoyles in there.
Spoiling it? Yep. Go ahead.
I'll spoil them, but that's also right. Trying to bring in some of our winners.
Right.
All right. So what do you want to do? You want to do a 50% chance feed folio random monster, 50%. All right.
Yeah.
So what am I?
Hey, you
rolling?
found your 4-sided dice.
It was in my trunk.
Excellent. So it's not a caltrop. It's actually.
That's right. Do you know? I believe caltrops are quite big. They're supposed to be big. Everyone was like, "I want 20 caltrops." I think they like to stop horses.
Yeah, they're like that.
Yeah, like big spike things.
Yeah.
I always thought they were like jacks.
No,
you lay them all out.
Jacks.
We have a name for that. Jacks.
It's called jacks.
Right. Exactly.
Is that what they're called in the rest of the world? We should not assume. I assume, right?
So right. What am I rolling?
Oh, you want to roll 50-50? Flip a coin.
Oh, that's terrible. I can't do that. 1, 2, 3. Fiend folio. 4, 5, 6.
I like
monster
that.
manual. All right. Oh, seriously?
Yeah, that's all that will build up for
monster
that.
manual 2 again.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Carlos is out.
Sorry, Carlos.
All right.
I see. Oh, and our dear listener in Japan, Ian Lives and Steve Jackson are heroes. Yes, very much sensible. Popularizing RPG. So you need to listen to. That's going to be my suggestion. I had 2 suggestions. Now my other suggestion is you need to listen to Grognard Files, and then you need to start talking to Dirk the Dice.
Because you know my all-time favorite writer of adventures is, of course, Albie Fior.
Right. So
Halsitis and Thane and the Lichway.
Yeah. So you need to just listen to them and then get. Anyway, go ahead. Let's go. You ready?
Are we digressing?
Yeah. Well,
it's endearing. Remember?
That's right. So for one, it's endearing. I don't know if it's endearing for.
All right. Give me. Where are we? Give me a die 10.
6, right? Yeah, 6.
That's a 6. Oh, we are in a tropical and subtropical civilized region. I don't think we've been in a tropical or subtropical.
We'll take it.
Oh, but it's civilized. Why does it have to be civilized?
Why can't it be civilized?
Oh, wait a second. Oh, no. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm on a subs. I was on a sub table.
Yeah.
We're simply in an outdoor. We're outdoors. So now I need a. Hang on. I need a die 6.
Die 6.
Outdoors. Yes.
3.
Okay. We are in a temperate wilderness.
Temperate wilderness.
Now I need a die 6. Wow. Again. Yeah, I know, right?
5.
Never ends. Plains and scrubs.
Plains and scrubs.
What are we doing in a plain and scrubs?
In the temperate wilderness. Well, we descended down the mountain and now we're by a temperate. We're in the savannah.
Because you lost the road. You're a terrible ranger.
I am a terrible ranger.
Where are we? All right. What happened to the road? Okay. You know now. It's the you know what it is.
Oh yeah. Let me roll that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to take those dice out of there.
No, it's all
kind of busy in there.
It is, but
it is.
Oh, 13.
Oh, a huge scorpion.
Oh, that's cool.
You mean like we're just? Well, it's probably a scrub is like scrub, so he must have been hiding. Are we just walking along? And then it's a giant scorpion versus Scarlet Rose.
Yeah.
So Scarlet Rose the giant scorpion has poison.
Yes.
Does that mean there's a chance?
There's always a chance.
A puncher's chance. A stinger's chance. All right.
Well, then first we have to look it up. I think that was
that Monster Manual.
I would say that's in the Monster.
I would say that's scorpion. Have you played a giant? Have you had a giant scorpion before?
Yes.
I have too.
Yes, I believe. Are they in S? They're in one of the S modules.
I think there's a picture. Is there a picture of a guy getting killed?
Yes, of course. Page 85.
That's awesome.
Page 85.
Yeah, you got your. Yes, down at the bottom.
Down at the bottom.
You gotta love it.
I wonder. I wonder if it's in the Art and Arcana too. The giant, all the pictures from Monster Man. I don't think it would be, but so at least the Scorpions.
A short entry. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I like that. No, go ahead. At least
this is the way it should be.
I agree.
So they're uncommon, since I already looked at it. They move pretty quickly. They're 5+5 hit dice.
Oh, wow.
And they get 3 attacks, 1 to 10. These are nasty.
Wow.
1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 4. With
vicious.
Poison sting.
Yeah.
They're vicious predators found in dungeons. They're likely to attack any creature which approaches. The monster seeks to grab prey with its huge pincers, while its segmented tail lashes forward to sting its victims to death with poison. The latter attack inflicts 1 to 4 per hit, and if poison saves fails, the victim, of course, dies immediately.
I like it immediately, because isn't there a rule? It doesn't talk about you got like a round or two. What, something's gone down? I knew it.
Queen of Shala.
Wait, we've had this discussion before?
What? Yes.
With monster poison.
It's instant death.
Wait, but Is it? I thought there's. But what if I've got a neutralized poison? Isn't there like a round or two? I thought.
Well, no, you die and then you cast it and you revive.
Oh, neutralized poison revives you. It doesn't prevent death.
It does not prevent death. Now, there's other things that you can parapath against proof against poison. I think parapat, excuse me, will give you bonuses to saves and may provide some immunization, if I remember correctly. But if you look at neutralized poison, the way it's worded, and again, now we're digressing from that.
Yeah, but we're talking about poison. This is important because we got the giant scorpion, right? I mean, this is relevant.
We need to adjudicate that.
Because I remember we had a talk in our group about, is there some time?
Right. The monster manual says under monster poisoning, as you correctly said. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's save or die, instant death. It's not like the other poison that slowly kills you. It basically, you're dead.
Right.
Poison. Saving throws. 71 and 81. Let's look over there. Or 20. Maybe it's under 20.
Now we know, so on page 20 in the DMG, it reminds us that for monsters, it's all or nothing affair.
Right.
Oh no, here it is. This is where it comes from. Or they kill the victim within a minute or so. So on page 20 of the DMG, the poison of monsters, regardless of its pluses or minuses to the victim's saving throws, an all or nothing affair. That is, either they do no damage or they kill the victim within a minute or so.
Yeah. So you have a minute or so. So then, there's always that question. If you give them a minute or so, what are they able to do? Are they just paralyzed? Are they able to, are they just collapse and they're, having convulsions? Hard to say.
So what are the spells?
Queen Oshala. Thank you. Yes, Queen of Oshala. Queen Oshala, not Queen Oshala. That's very funny. Someone's just saying.
No, not Queen Oshala.
Not Queen Oshala.
Not Queen
Ishala.
Eshala.
That's right.
So what are the things what are the spells the cleric can have?
Well, neutralize poison.
That's a 4th level.
Right. Which basically says, that's on page 48 of the player's handbook. Note that opponents such as unwilling to be touched, so you can actually unvenom people. So you can detoxify the actual thing, but they get a saving throw, which I don't think anyone's ever done, which is interesting. So that's where you could potentially stop them from being venomous, at least for a while.
Oh, that is very interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that.
That's right. So you could, we're going to attack that, which actually makes a lot of sense. But of course, who's going to burn?
Wow, an opponent such as a poisonous rotar snake, unwilling to be so touched, the cleric detoxifies any sort of venom in the creature.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or the potion.
And so that's the first thing that's mentioned. So that sounds like what is its primary thing.
Right. Effects of a spell are permanent only with respect to the poison existing in the touched creature at the time. Creatures will generate new poison, will not be permanently detoxified. The reverse spell.
Wait, so is neutralized poison only about that? Or do you use it? Does it even talk about using it on players?
Well, it does. It says, the effects are permanent, and it will detoxify them.
Okay.
So in other words, if you're venomized, that's what you would do. But you could also do this. You could also do it on something that's poisonous, like a well or a potion.
But you detox. So by means of a neutralized poison spell, the cleric detoxifies any sort of venom in the creature or substance touched. Okay, so it's removing all of the poison.
Right.
Note that an opponent, such as a poisonous reptar snake, unwilling to be so touched. Okay, so I'm a victim, and I say, touch me. You say, do I have consent to touch you?
I think by that point you're out, but okay, sure.
Whatever. Okay, right. Well, then you don't have consent. Effect of the spell are permanent, only with respect to the poison existing in the touched creature at the time of the touch. i.e. creatures or objects which generate new poison. Okay, that's fine. But this doesn't tell me, does it, if I'm already dead.
Right. If you're dead.
I'm dead. I mean, you remove poison, it does nothing for me. My bodily function.
Unless you've been dead, it depends how long you've been dead. And again, this is where I'm sure I remember reading one of these things saying, even if you collapse over, there's some time frame before you actually die. So,
well, this says a minute. Well, the DMG.
A minute or so.
Pays a minute or so.
So David has said a turn. I mean, you could rule whatever you want if it's a reasonable amount of time. Typically.
Because a minute is a round. Isn't a minute a round?
Right. You have a round there, but you could do more than a round. You could say, you could be.
Sure.
You could also, I've seen people rule it where, yes, you die, you go to 0, and now you, quote unquote, have the 10 minutes to go to -10, and then you die.
Right.
That you were at 100 hit points, you fail your save, you're at 0, and now 1 round per level till you get to -10.
But it is interesting. But so the neutralized poison, and I know we need to look it up in the DMG.
And we're supposed to talk about scorpions.
Well, this is very.
I looked in the DMG. There's nothing in there.
Okay, so it doesn't actually say. I mean, what's interesting to me is it isn't talking about using this spell to save people who have been poisoned. I mean, I get it that it's neutralized poison. I know it removes the poison.
Right.
But it doesn't sound like this spell is designed. It sounds like this spell is designed to remove poison from venomous creatures. It doesn't sound. I mean, if this was going to be a useful spell to saving people who have been stung, wouldn't there be some?
Well, the thing is, you have to go back to slow poison, which is typically you go back to the 2nd level spell, which kind of adjudicates some of these things.
I got you. Okay.
So when the spell is placed upon a poisoned individual, it greatly slows the effect of poison, even causing a supposedly dead individual to have life restored if it's cast upon the victim within a number of turns. Here's the interesting number of turns, less than equal level of experience of the cleric. So in this case, if there was a 10th level cleric, you could have an hour. 10 turns previously could be saved by a 10th level cleric. While the spell doesn't neutralize the venom, it does prevent it from substantially harming the individual for the duration of magic. But each turn, the poison creature will lose 1 hit point from the effect of the venom.
Oh, I see. So so I get it right. So that does make sense. So the neutralized poison is an improved form.
That's what
that makes right. And so that's where the discussion is taking place about. And you can even.
It's more like the Cinderella. No, is it Cinderella? Snow White. It's the Snow White scenario where you're poisoned by the apple. You're catatonic, and you're waiting. So if you use this thing, basically, in theory, you're dead, but you're not dead. Because in theory, you could have a level 50 cleric, which would be interesting. Then you'd have 50 turns to revive them.
Oh, because it doesn't neutralize. It does prevent it from essentially harming
Garlic
the individual.
on the bare feet. That's right, huh?
Okay, so you got to get the person somewhere. So it's cast upon the person.
If they have garlic, and this is where you can really screw them, as David reminded us. The material component is you have to rub garlic on their feet. They have to be barefoot and garlic smelling.
So it could be temporarily saved.
Do you know why this is why we're going to be playing basic? Is for these kind of adjudications.
Exactly. Does not neutralize the venom. It does prevent it from substantially harming the individual for the duration of its magic.
Right. But it's
1 hour per level.
Well, and they can revive someone 1 turn per level.
Right.
You could have a 21st level cleric. Well, that's almost 3.5 hours.
Right.
So they're not dead for 3.5 hours. Well, then you could argue they're not dead for a long time. What about a level 50 cleric? I've never heard of a level 50 cleric, but you could have a level 50 cleric. So.
Okay. All right, so that makes sense. So the neutralized poison then.
This is the hangover of GROGTALK. This is.
Well, I need to know what happens when my scorpion.
That's right.
Stings.
Your scorpion is not going to sting. It's not even going to get to that. But okay, maybe.
So it actually is like a resurrection spell.
Sort of, kind of.
Well, yeah, because you're dead.
Well, you have a status of poison. You're poisoned, so you're not functioning, aka dead. And unless that status is revoked, it's like petrification. The idea is when you're petrified by the Medusa, you're not dead. You're dead because you're stoned. But if they do the stone to flesh, you're alive again. If you make your system shock.
Well, that's right. You're in there somewhere.
You're trapped in this stasis.
Right. But if you die in a minute or so.
Well, that says die in a minute or so, but this says you have time. Slow poison. If a level you got poisoned by the scorpion, and you're sitting, and assuming he didn't eat you, you're poisoned for 2.5 hours. A level 20 cleric can go boop, and you're back, and then neutralize.
So poison. I guess, are you back, or are you never dead?
Well, that's it. That's the question. How are you going to rule that?
I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet. That's right. That's terrible.
Okay, this is what brings me to a relevant point. This says you die immediately.
Right.
So does that change anything?
No, you're dead, and then the idea is is that the grog line?
I don't think so.
That's someone's calling from the grog line.
What's happening?
Saying, no one cares about poison.
You're digressing. I don't even know where my phone is.
That's it. We're off the rails here. It doesn't matter.
It is the GROGTALK hangover, isn't it? There it is.
There's your phone.
All right, let's find out.
I mean, there's some basic things.
It's my wife saying, you guys really need to get on message here.
That's right. On point.
I don't know what's happening. I think I'm connected to your Wi-Fi. All right.
Dan is confused because he literally DM'd the whole time there. You got the Iron Man, the iron voice. We need to give out.
I haven't changed clothes. I just woke up.
That's right.
I just
slept for 4 hours.
I've been asleep since GROGTALK.
Poison or poison, exactly. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
So, no, I think that's very important. I think you can rule it a bunch of ways. I think generally I would agree with David in that that's how I've always ruled it. I mean, but really reading slowed poison and neutralized poison, you have some opportunities if you have high-level clerics, but it's a status like petrification, meaning you're dead because you have the status on it if it's removed. Now, that doesn't prevent, so for instance, you're dead and the scorpion eats you. Well, now you're dead for other reasons.
Sure. Because don't you need to have, you come back, I can resurrect you, but don't you come back as you were?
In a raised dead, you got to have all your body
raised
parts.
Dead, not
so if they chew off your leg and they raise you, no leg. Same thing with, you get stoned by a Medusa, cockatrice, Gorgon, basilisk, any of those. You could be restored, but if someone lops your head off, your stone statue head, well, now that's it. Thanks for playing.
Right.
So, I think that's where, again, realistically, if they don't have neutralized poison or slow poison, they're dead by the time they get back to town or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
but if there's, don't be the jerky DM who goes, you have a scroll of neutralized poison. Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't cast it in 3 minutes. They're dead. I mean, give them a chance.
But you would apply the slow poison rule,
right?
In terms of timing.
I would,
right? Which is the turn,
right? Which is, even though it's not explicitly put in the neutralized poison, why would it be worse than a second level spell?
And that's a long time. He said it's per turn, right? Per level. Per
right.
turn,
They would have an hour plus, assuming
if you're high. Oh, that's right. The scroll.
Scroll would be 7th level,
and you don't need the garlic for the scroll.
That's right. No scroll, no garlic needed.
Because you don't need spell components for
scrolls.
Scroll.
Are very powerful.
So yeah, okay. So the neutralized poison is. And would you play it that, do you got to walk around with the IV unit? Or the IV?
Well, it does adjudicate that you would have 7 hit points at that point.
Oh, okay.
If you use the slow poison rule. The slow poison says you have 1 hit point per level of restoring. So you don't come back to full. I've also seen it where you come back to 1 hit point.
But but if you go below 0 and you're unconscious, you can go above 0.
Right.
But you still, because you hit 0, you got to rest for a week, right?
That is definitely an argument to be made.
That would stink. I mean,
I don't do that, but you could do that.
Because the save or die on monster poison is bad enough. I mean, a lowly, large spider,
right?
Which is
the bane of all entry level fighters,
right? I mean, that's rough enough.
Yeah. So what Dan's talking about is in the DMG. It says if you become unconscious, 0 or less, you need a week of rest, short of if you use the book that shall not be named, the 3rd level spell in there. You have
that's Death's Door or whatever.
You said the word. Yes, it's Death's Door.
I've heard of it.
Yes, it allows you to treat them, brings them basically above 0. It gets rid of the weakness effect basically.
All right.
Okay. So we have a scorpion.
And we have Scarlet Rose.
Scarlet Rose, the dragon.
And unfortunately, it looks like we don't have Carl Slicing on because he certainly is entitled to run Scarlet Rose,
right?
If he wants. But we're rolling for. So are you Scarlet Rose?
Of course I am. I'm the DM.
So all right. So I'm the giant scorpion.
You're the challenger.
So I'm.
So you have. Tell me, you're the scorpion. Well, what
so
intelligence do you have? Animal.
9. What? 9.
So there'll be no parlaying this time.
No, not
Please
very
speak.
good parlay.
Please don't speak. Just kind of utter what you're doing.
Right. So Scarlet Rose is in the scrub, looking for another giant goat because that was tasty.
Well, first of all, what would Scarlet Rose be doing?
Would be flying and causing panic.
Right. That's
the scorpion is not smart enough to realize there's a problem. All these peasants are running. It's like the griffin, the green griffin or whatever.
The scorpion was about to eat a peasant, and then is like, why are these tasty morsels running all in different directions?
Right.
Because the dragon is flying over.
Medium size. So I guess a giant scorpion, medium. That's like a human, right?
First of all,
oh, you're right. We got a picture of the human.
First of all, it's not medium. Look at that.
It says, you're right though, but it does say medium. But that does. Apparently, that's like a halfling.
Yeah, we're looking at the picture in the Monster Manual on page 85, and the human, which again, this Monster Manual is so instructive. These are the best things because they tell you how the monster fights through the demise of the illustrated human.
This is why back in the day we understood that when he was deadly, because you would sit on a sofa, your buddy's sofa.
Right.
You'd flip through the monster manual.
Beer encrusted sofa. By the way.
Right. Beer encrusted sofa, and you would look at these pictures, and you'd be like, "Look, just even right there."
That's right. Pounding someone in the back of the head. What? That's what we learned. Don't run. Don't waste your time.
That's the opportunity attack.
The free opportunity attack.
You just look at these, and then you got these squish.
Yeah, the Iron Golem is holding the little man. Hello, little man. I crush you like grape.
Every page.
Yeah.
The herd.
Even the herd animal. It's a giraffe.
Seriously.
A giraffe, and they're running for their lives.
It's great, isn't
They're
it?
running for their lives.
Every page is just
a giraffe. We've all seen giraffes. You've been to the zoo. You feed them carrots.
Not in 1E.
Not in 1E.
This is like people play 5E. They're like, oh, I feed the giraffe. Okay, roll for initiative.
What do you mean there's initiative?
They're getting crushed. I love it. So yeah, everything. Even the kobolds are surrounding.
Yeah, the kobolds look like they're gonna win.
Right? Oh, you have a website. I guess that's a website. It looks like a net spell, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot more like a net.
A net spell.
Yeah.
But every page after page.
All right.
Death.
Sure.
All right.
Right. Exactly.
All right, let's 85. Do it. We're rolling for us. We're rolling for
initiative, but I'm already telling you.
No surprise. We're rolling for surprise.
Okay, but Scarlet Rose is flying. He's not.
There's a chance of sleeping.
She's gonna be sleeping in Savannah.
Yes. He's
she
exhausted.
got tired.
Yes, that's a long flight back.
Okay, fine.
What's your
20%?
All right, I'll roll. 20% chance of sleeping.
You can roll for sleep, not 100, 20.
Huh?
20% chance. Okay. Under 20, she's sleeping.
20 or under.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. 9. Whoa, yes. Okay. I love it. Oh, it's coming to an end, buddy.
She ate the giraffe and the people running. She burned all of them. She ate them all, and now she's like, I'm gonna just sleep right here. And the giant scorpion.
The goat.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, what does this mean? This means that I get. Oh wait, there's a chance that I'm heard. Isn't it always like a certain chance?
Yes. It's not a free attack.
It might be.
It may.
And then I can get
sleeping. Sleeping dragon is only found in its lair. So you're going to the lair.
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you that. And will be awoken upon hearing loud noise of talking, shouting, forcing Sarah.
No.
If awakened, it will also awaken. It will awaken if attacked. It will also awaken on a roll of 6 on a 6-sided dice.
Okay.
So if it will awaken if attacked, it will also awaken on a roll of 6. So
I think always a 6.
Always a 6. It will wake up.
Because I'm slowly. So the giant scorpion slowly walking up.
Right. If not, you get a free attack.
That's
you get a free attack segment.
And then you got to adjudicate where there's an increased chance of surprise.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's like a dream, like something's poking at me.
I got you.
Is that goat?
Yes. Okay. You'll get your free attacks now.
This is awesome.
I don't think this is.
I see me ordering from Amazon Prime a giant scorpion. Stingley. I've already got a name for the new champ.
Stingley.
Assassin's Table.
No, you're not. He's not an assassin.
No. There's an asterisk there. Go to the Assassin's Table.
You're not.
No, Thane. I'm sorry, formerly Thane Thompson.
Yeah, Chamberlain, the most.
Chamberlain is right.
Australia.
There's an asterisk, or on page 75 of the DMG, or attacks on helpless opponents. Oh wait, it says by any character class.
Yeah, this is not a character class.
How do you know? Is it Unearthed Arcana? Can I be a giant scorpion under
non-intelligent?
UA? I think he can be a giant scorpion. Can't you be assassin? 5e, you can be a giant scorpion assassin.
Yeah, you can't. No.
I don't get the assassin's table, but thank you.
Well, what's interesting, under helpless opponent by any character class, we have always adjudicated that if they were helpless, we would kill them, because it says now we really are digressing. Remember in the combat segment, we didn't use the assassination table.
But no one thinks that you can just slay automatically a sleeping dragon, do they? So it says if attacked, it'll awake, not it'll die.
Note that this does not include normally sleeping. So if they're sleeping, you have a chance to assassinate them. That's what they're telling here.
Oh man, it's angry. The mob, they're getting angry.
Grapple helpless. Yeah, okay.
They're rooting. You know who they're rooting for? The scorpion.
Right.
Because they don't like the champ. They like the underdog.
Right. I got you.
Right. The red dragon has got to. Because you predicted the red dragons would be like Mike Tyson be forever.
Well, I don't know about forever. It's close.
The scorpion. I got a new name. Buster Douglas, the scorpion. All right. So what are you giving me here? You give me an attack?
I'm giving you an attack. I'm going to give you an attack round.
Talk about this, and it's going to be like a 1.
I'm going to give you your attack.
I'm a 5.
You get your attack segments. You get your 5 plus 5.
I get 1 attack segment.
So you actually because
3.
Any plus above 3 adds another hit dice. You're technically you attack at 6 hit dice.
And I'm grabbing and
Yeah, you're doing your
poking.
you're doing your whole attack.
Ready
set.
for number
So
one?
This is you get a 14.
Okay, 14 is what I need?
Yeah.
This is the first one. I want the last
Actually,
one.
I'm going to give you, because he's not moving, I'm going to give you a plus 4.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely right. I do.
So you need a 10 or above. Literally.
14, that's
hit.
one.
Mm-hmm.
10.
That's it. And now the poison.
This is the biggie.
This
Oh,
is the big
come
one.
on. 16.
Okay.
3 hits, buddy.
Okay. 3 hits.
All right, so it's what, 1 to 10?
So D10.
We don't know how many hit. Do we know?
Oh, I do know exactly how many hit points you have.
Oh,
Remember, we
Scarlet,
wrote
right?
all this down.
Well, you did. I don't think.
I did.
I just sit there. Crack joke.
She has 77. She had
77.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It needs to. Oh no. She has 70. Excuse me. She had 63. That's another question for the people out there. When does the champion heal hit points after each session?
Well, we can leave that to the. I think so.
Okay, because is there enough time has passed, or is there literally like a line of challengers just waiting?
Scorpions. There goes a scorpion.
There's a green room. They're all sitting there smoking.
Asmodeus is in line. His line's too damn long. Move it up. Keep it moving.
Get that goat out of the way.
I'm busy.
Is this just a procession of people? It's like the gladiator games where they don't get a chance to.
Right. I got a meeting with Orcus. Move it along. I'm late.
Because in the games like King of the Hill or what it is, you get a little chance to there's really no chance to rest up there because there's constantly people trying to ping you down.
So we don't know. Well, what are we gonna?
Well, I'm gonna say she has her full hit points, but
Okay.
we should put that. We should put that on.
So we'll do full for now.
That's a Twitter
right.
poll. Okay.
Hit points should heal up. Oh, 1 week between combat.
Yeah. Well, how much? I agree, but how much time has passed? That's the question.
Oh yeah, how many do you get 7 hit? Well, if it's one, so if it is 1 week, how many hit? You get 7 hit points. Is that what you get? You get 1 a day.
If you do at least 7, you get it goes up a little bit faster. It's full rest. Now
and
again,
is it based on my con too?
No, it doesn't have a con. In the original old school rules, it does not have a con. Now we are super digressing. All right, we'll just go with the 7 hit points.
Okay,
I like that. Okay,
all right.
So you want to roll? I gotta roll save.
Wait, no, I'm doing. Well, let me do my first two.
Okay.
My pinchy,
Pinchy,
right?
Yeah, D10, 2D10 and D4.
Pinches. That could be the name.
Pinches, I like that.
Pinches.
Pinches is good.
Stingley.
2.
2.
That's not.
It's
good.
not like I'm going to hit point him away anyway.
Well, you could if you got rolled some rolls.
Or
like that. So now do your D4.
Well, it should be higher. 2.
8. So okay. 60,
terrible.
62. Now I have to make the save.
Oh boy. Wait, and hold on. Let's just talk about the stakes here.
The stakes are.
There's no cleric standing by.
No, insta death. This is
save or die.
This is save or die.
What do you need for the save here? Is there any? Help us out, Hive Mind. Are there any minuses we need to have here?
Therefore, determining saving throws. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 5 is 3. Okay. Hit dice equals to experience level. With additional pluses and hit points, moving the creature upwards by 1 die. Further die levels are added for each increment of 4 hit points. So he acts as a 6 level. She acts as a 10 hit dice. 10
fighter. Monsters or fighters. What does Scarlet Rose need?
Needs an 8.
So Scarlet Rose gets below an 8. It is over.
That's right. Monsters save as fighters. There's abilities with characters. Oh, wait a minute. So because she casts spells, she could potentially use magic user. Nope. Fighter's better.
Who's going to tell Carlos? Will you tell Carlos?
I
can't. I don't want to.
You don't think you can?
I'm too scared.
And by the way, non-intelligent creatures save at experience level equal to 1/2 their hit dice. So by the way, when I blast you with the fireball, the flame, you get to save it like a 2 hit dice.
This is over. You're never waking up.
That's right. Hubris, pride cometh before the fall.
This is the only chance we got. I mean, it's gonna be like a kobold next.
Here you go.
Ah,
19.
Boo.
Oh, well, now it's initiative. Oh, I said we talked about surprise.
I'm fleeing. Oh, that's right, surprise.
We're gonna give you surprise.
I got a shot.
Right, you just straight out attacked her.
All right.
Now I'm gonna give you. You have normal surprise. I'll do 1 to 4.
Surprised.
You have to roll surprise.
I don't know if you have to. Sometimes things negate surprise. All right, whatever. That's fine. You're the DM. I'm sorry. I shouldn't argue with the DM.
Wow, this is...
I'm a terrible... You don't want me at your table.
No, I do want you at your table now.
No, you do. Yeah, I won't be there for long. Scarlet Rose will make an appearance.
That's right. Just see, here's the troll.
Or whatever the chaotic will appear.
Here's the troll. Here's the little guy, and here's you becoming best friends with the troll in a way that you
exactly.
All right.
Go delicious.
You're not surprised.
What are you, 1 to 4?
I'm gonna say 1 to 4.
That's wow. So you roll 4. That's 4 segments of surprise. Right. 4 segments. See, even you're rooting for.
That's right. Now you have 4
pinches.
You have 4 rounds of attack.
I know, and that's
so
like 3.
You get 8 pinches and 4 stabbies.
Let's start rolling. That's 10 or higher, right? Okay. Here's number 1.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hit.
Yeah.
This is a good die.
It is a good die.
Poison. I have Amanda Roos die here. She has a very good dice.
Okay, so all 3 hit. Next second round. Let's do all.
Oh, sure, you got it.
Let's do it.
Let's
get all the rounds done.
Boo.
Okay, three claws. Oh, yeah.
3 pinches. And 2 stings.
2 stings.
3 pinches, 2 stings. I missed a pinch. 4 pinches. And 3 stings.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
you still have another round. That's.
Well, yes, you're right. It's 4.
Yeah, 5. Fumble, but there's no fumble. Oh, and a 20, a critical poison. Okay, so 5 and 4. You hit all stings.
Okay, I may hit point you.
5d10 and 4d4.
Okay.
This is incredible.
5d10.
This is probably not
7.
This is probably not the way it's supposed to be. Go ahead. 7.
Well, I don't know.
You're fine. It's fine.
I did surprise. But you were sleeping.
You were sleeping. That's right. And you were. I didn't make a move silently roll for you, assuming scorpion.
And there should be a lot of surprise. I mean, you pinch, right? And you rolled a 4. You've rolled really poorly, actually.
I did.
7.
15. 20. 26. 30. All right.
So now I've got how many?
44. You hit all 4
every
times.
time.
4. 8. Wow. 12. Are you rolling the dice, or are you just making it drop? Exactly.
Yeah, you screwed it up.
14 points. Okay, she is at 18 points. You've done 52 hit points, and now 4 saves have to happen.
Oh man, how did she go to sleep? Because you look, I know it sounds like we're like stacking it, but if you think about it, we rolled for sleep,
right?
And it actually rolled under the 35.
Mm-hmm.
You rolled for surprise. I wasn't surprised.
Well, first you got a free attack because we adjudicated that you were silent as a giant scorpion.
I didn't roll the 6.
That's right.
I've actually rolled really well.
That's
if you
right.
think about it. I mean, let's face it. Even if you are a dragon,
well, that's what makes
it sucks to have a giant scorpion come walking into your cave while you're sleeping. That's not a good position.
And
to be
that's why you would have kobolds guarding you if you're an ancient.
Well, that's true.
Or a dragon, you would be.
Oh wait. Isn't it time for you to pray to Tiamat?
Oh, well, I think
Tiamat will come, don't you think?
Well, no, I'm surprised. I'm not having an opportunity to do this. I'm flat-footed at this point.
You have no chance to even pray for Tiamat.
He rolled a 4 and I rolled a 4. So he was not surprised, and I adjudicated that Scarlet Rose would be surprised in a 1 to 4.
We need to remember to mention what our rolls are, because nothing is more boring than listening to people play D&D and roll dice. And in addition to that, it's even more boring when you don't even know what they're rolling.
That's right. So yes, basically.
Oh wait, we've got some. If he rolled a 6.
Oh, we've gone over this before.
Right.
Yes. Yes, David.
We
that's how I used to roll it too. We'll have to talk about it later.
We'll talk about that on a surprise thing.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
We did. And Polyhedron actually followed Dave. We got to do a surprise segment.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Okay.
A surprise podcast.
Right. But it may not matter because this is the first save, and if I fail this first save, it's a moot point.
So how many?
4.
So you have to roll an 8 or higher 4 straight times.
That's right. This is the tie. Let's see. First roll.
It's over.
Doesn't matter.
2.
She Scarlet Rose was sleeping, dreaming.
Roll, see how many times that you like. How bad is it?
Saved. Saved.
Oh.
It was the first roll.
The first ding.
So so that's
over, man.
It's over. The first round failed save, regardless.
Do scorpions eat dragon?
I would say they eat anything. So Scarlet Rose was very satiated after eating the goat and the hobgoblin.
I want my treasure. What's the treasure type? Give me the I want treasure.
Wait a minute. First of all, your scorpion is non-intelligent. What was it going to do with treasure?
Well, will the first champ who's intelligent get the dragon's treasure? We can roll later.
He has to defeat the scorpion.
I know, but at some point, someone's going to get the dragon treasure.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Wow, wouldn't that be nice? You come walking along, and there's just a treasure hoard.
Right.
And a dead dragon. there's going to be crows. So if you see like a bunch of like blood hawks and stuff circling,
well, it's
you
in
should
the
go
cave,
investigate.
so I would think carrion crawlers or things like that would get there first.
Oh,
because it's in the cave.
I guess the gelatinous cube isn't going to head into a cave.
Huh?
They're not going to gelatinous cube.
No, I don't think it's going to be in a cave. So
I guess we're not rolling treasure yet.
Who would have thought it? That's exactly right. Who would have thought it?
So Buster Douglas. So I propose Buster Douglas.
Okay, hold on.
Stingley, and Pinches.
I like Pinches.
Like Pinches?
Yeah, Stingley. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's a few things that worked in your favor. A, we didn't stick to the rule that the monster was encountered in its own location. It's encountered on this mountain of pain where everyone comes together. Because if it was in the air, you wouldn't have had any chance.
Well, you said King of the Mountain.
Right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay, but everything's good. Regardless of where you're from, you end up on the mountain of pain.
Okay.
Where there's two holes. There's a goat hole and there's a dragon hole, which with a dead dragon in it now, and an unknown treasure.
Yeah. So Scarlet Rose.
And Scarlet Rose got 2 weeks. Basically, the champ only lasts for 2 weeks.
She won one. Oh no, she did win. She won
she
two.
killed the hobgoblin.
The hobgoblin last week at GROGTALK. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's longer than we thought. And so, actually, all kidding aside, that is classic 1E. You don't fight a dragon that's flying around. You're going to get destroyed. Mm-hmm. You wait to go back its lair and, very Smog-esque, trying to, when it's sleeping, sneak around and do what you're going to do. Don't try to attack it head on.
Right. Learn a lesson from that giant scorpion.
Right. But there's some interesting things. We'll talk about surprise. We'll talk about the assassination table, because I never would have used the assassination table with non-other players. To me, that seems ridiculous. But
that's what it's at.
I see the asterisk. The asterisk has more rules in it, and that's the asterisk always has more rules in it than the actual rule.
We should put out a booklet like the asterisk, like all the asterisk rules. You love that?
The asterisk. That's good.
The asterisk. It ought to be called the asterisk.
Yeah.
And it'll be a supplement with just stuff from the asterisk.
Hold on, I gotta. That's the new, because all these, been reading a lot about the OSR, and you've talked about that too, and how they try to streamline the rules. Mm-hmm. Our rules will just be the asterisks. That's the only thing will be in there.
We're experts on the asterisks.
That's right. The new OSR book, just the rules that are asterisks. I love it.
There's probably only like 2.
Well, there's
sure.
Or footnote /asterisk.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, look, because you got weapons.
Oh yeah,
there's asterisks on the weapon
the asterisk
tables.
about the Ransour.
The Ransour. That's a whole conversation. Right. The Ransour.
The Ransour. This thing about that any person can assassinate people if they're sleeping.
So Elaine, the first time I was running it, very early on, I was running Borderlands. I'd never DM'd.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't played in 30 years.
Right.
And Elaine picks a Ransour. He doesn't tell me what he's up to.
Right.
But when it comes time to combat, he like springs it on me, and I'm all like fumbling and what, huh? Trying to adjudicate this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
you know
Lane,
what?
But shout out. So I'm teasing Lane about that. But shout out to Lane for an amazing dwarven.
Good morning, Scourge of the North. We were just talking about you.
He doesn't know. Oh my gosh, does he not know?
He does not know. You're gonna have to go back. No spoilers. He's gonna have to go back and hear.
Yeah. Okay.
Hear what happened.
Wow.
I think it was pretty dramatic. So
yeah, it was pay-per-view.
So there it is up here. You see that? It's up here. We have a homage to some of your items that you've provided us. Thank you, Vic.
Yeah.
We've got doors. You can't really see them. There's a barrel. A box. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Spell selection.
All right. Let's do it.
Because we're already in what time frame? Oh my God, an hour. David's got to sleep at some point. So does Min. Oh yeah, you got to roll.
A scroll. We're doing 2. Oh, we're rolling for a scroll.
You roll. You like it.
Sure.
Go ahead.
92.
That's a cleric spell.
Great.
All right. So now it could be druidical.
It'd probably be like slow poison.
Could be druidical. So 30% or less. Nope, it's cleric.
Oh, sorry, Jeannie.
D8. Yep, sorry, Jeannie. Which, by the way, thanks. It was really fun playing with Jeannie.
She's great.
Yeah.
Oh, so Bumbly was written for Jeannie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, of course, because there's no gnome druid.
Right.
So yeah, Bumbly was written, and she picked Bumbly, and she used that. Did you notice that Bumbly had this was Ed's idea, so shout out to Edward.
Yeah.
What's the magical item that creates the creatures? Like you have like a
bag
big
of tricks?
fly.
The bag of tricks. Oh, the figuring of wondrous power.
Exactly, but it had a giant bee.
Yeah, well, so they never used it.
Oh, that thing was nasty. It was flying all around.
Our party, they didn't.
No.
They didn't use it. They had. I mean, I forgot all the crazy nonsense you put in there. They're like, "What's this do?" I'm like, "Oh, here we go." But they had the sewer pipe to the sewers.
Yes, for the rats.
Pipes to the
Bumblebee
sewer.
had that. Yeah.
No one.
They used that. Jeannie used that. They had all the rats lead them in,
Right.
and then this giant bumblebee is like flying all around.
Yes.
So it was chaos.
D8. That's a D10.
2. Sorry.
How did the scorpion win? That's all I got.
Exactly right. I did
first
D30 for that'd be
first
bad.
level spell.
D30 for hits. All right.
I think
first
it's 12 or 16 for cleric. 12.
cleric. It is 12.
In the book, in this book, that shall always.
Well,
be
we're going to be doing the podcast that shall not be named.
Once we get through the classes.
8. Protection from evil.
All right. Did
Okay.
we do protection from evil? I thought we did 10-foot radius. I feel like we did.
Did we?
Yeah, roll again. I'm almost positive. Didn't we do protection from evil? Gentlemen who are out there.
It's limited. It's not. Well, it's a
Well,
minus.
I understand that.
I don't want to talk about
All
it.
right. Let's roll again.
All right.
I feel like we did. 1.
Bless.
Bless. Okay.
Okay.
Good. It's a classic.
It is a classic, and I think.
And one that's underutilized.
It is because you don't think about it, I think, until you're in combat. Even if I recall correctly,
That's
you need
right.
to think about it before combat, right?
Yep, it is limited in that.
So we are on page 43. I love the pictures. You've got the different pictures of the different clerics,
Very
don't
eclectic. All the different clerics you can be.
Right. Very, for its time, very eclectic, right?
Yeah,
all religions.
All faiths were there. Well, not all. There was many of them. A nice panoply.
You probably can't
Is panoply
use
the right word?
panoply.
Panoply?
Is there an L there?
I think there's panoply. Yeah.
I don't think you can use a blessed spell in hell. It's not going to work very well unless you have a lawful evil, right? Don't you? Because you're actually.
Then it'd be reversed.
Well, let me ask you this: but this is a first level spell, so you're not. Are you actually praying to your deity, or it's first level? Don't you? To get the spell, you don't need your deity.
Right. You need minion.
You need a minion. But when you're actually casting the spell, is the deity giving the blessing?
No, it's the power that you're ready with. Because I've adjudicated, unless it specifically says in the spell that the deity's power is coming through you. It's the same thing. In other words, you're praying to the creature, whether it's first or second level, it's a minion of the deity, and then higher, and then eventually the deity, that they are imbibing you with the power at that point.
Right.
And that you have it. Because if it wasn't the case, then none of the spells would work in hell or any of those places.
That's right. I agree with that. David Thompson says he felt magic user spell. No.
Who magic user spell?
I don't know. Did he think our scroll was a magic user scroll?
I don't know.
So Minion has said.
Yeah.
From the cleric's faith.
Right, and so that's what David said as well. From their faith / deity, that kind of thing. What does it say?
Where is it? Yeah.
Talks about it in the DMDs and demigods.
Yeah.
Clerics and deities.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. Let me see. So, first and second level spells are gained through the cleric's knowledge and faith.
There you go.
Thank you, Minion. And all other spells are gained through prayer. Oh, so you don't even have to pray?
You just have to rest.
You just got to rest.
And yeah, it's almost like you have a book of prayers, and you would. That's the way I would adjudicate that. That you have some your religious texts that you would study. So it's the same studying like a spell book. Okay,
I got you. You have a little booklet. Third, fourth, and fifth level spells are granted by the supernatural servants or minions. So we have 3 different things.
That's right.
First and second.
You just have a book of them.
So that means, and that's important though, right? Because if you are...
Well, you don't have a book of them. You memorize it. It doesn't say it's a book.
It does not say it's a book.
It's prayer.
So if you're a bad cleric and you haven't been praying a lot, you're still going to get your... I don't think you get into trouble until later, right?
Well, it depends how bad it is.
Well, I guess that's true. You lose all of your first... That'd be pretty bad.
You're just non-consequential. And also what level you are. I mean, that's what it's talking about. If you're a lowly level cleric, you're not on the radar of your deity.
I think that's true. You're nothing. And this is interesting too. You got to be careful who your deity is, because demigods is certain gods can only grant certain.
Well, only if you're a power gamer. If you're a role player, then yeah, you're praying, because again, the idea is the deity's power is relative to the amount of followers they have. I mean, that's the idea of it. Is that the reason they're demigods is because not as many people follow them. So you're an up and coming. You're a startup company. You're part of that. You're in the early levels, because The good news is if that demigod
Right.
takes off,
Right.
you're going to be,
Right.
you can become a big minion
Right.
of that person.
But that could be like 5,000 years.
Well, you're playing the long game here. Eternity
Better
is
be
a
an
long
elf.
time. Didn't Prince tell us that?
I know, but I'll be dead. Better be an elf.
Well, but if you're doing well, you may move up in the ranks. Because again, it's a smaller pie. If it's a smaller
Oh, that's
pie,
true.
Big fish in a small pond.
Well, that's true. You're like the favored one, kind of. Yeah, so really what you should do is
That's
you should
right.
pick up with like a new, like a brain. I agree with you.
Well,
like a
but
new,
that's risk and reward. They may
I
not
know.
work out. Another deity may crush them for their insolence. You know, you find a level 20 guy, you know, demi-lich who tries to become
But
deified.
that's a good point, you know, because I think that the chance
We're talking
of
about Bless here on GROGTALK.
the chance of intervention should change based. So if I'm Thor,
Right.
I'm trying to good luck,
Right.
you know. But if it's like I've got somebody from like
Thieves or St. Cuthbert, if we're talking about the Greyhawk campaign. So.
or like these lesser deities that you have in Judges Guild Unknown God,
Sure.
you know, so,
or
you know,
the Pelennor, the Green Man, if he's, which I, you know,
that's all right.
pray to.
You drink
regularly.
too.
Exactly.
You're still praying to him. You pray to him every weekend.
Every weekend, and sometimes daily.
Sometimes in the morning.
Sometimes.
Actually, just before the show.
How do you know this is Starbucks?
All
You
right.
don't
Bless
know.
spell.
All right, so I think so. Bless spell is 1 round.
The
cast.
morale. Who cares about morale? A friendly creature. So that's what if you have henchmen or something?
Right.
Okay, that's not very useful.
Well, it is in first edition. If you're playing like we talked about in Borderlands, what is the first thing we try to do when we played with you?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hire people. I want red shirts.
I'm like, I need to go back to basic. Okay.
Well, that was a basic thing.
That was basic. Further, it raises their, now this is where we care, right? Further, it raises
right.
their 2 hit dice rolls by +1.
That's the big thing.
But of course, here comes Gary.
Yeah.
A blessing, however, will only affect those not already engaged in melee combat. That is often forgotten.
Right.
So you got
You got to cast it beforehand.
So if you know you're going in to fight the big bad, you got to do a timeout.
Right.
And the cleric needs to figure out what is he going to do right before you.
Optimally, you send the gnome illusionist in first to attack the
Yeah,
creatures, and
yes.
everyone else huddles back and gets bless on them.
Got it.
Because it'll take about a round for them to finish off the illusionist.
He's like, yeah, he's invisible and he's running around.
No,
Like
I
you're
don't,
saying.
visible or not, whatever. He's there to soak up hits
I
while,
got it.
while the rest of the group is huddled back.
He's the fodder. Is
Right.
basically what you're saying.
Might as well just get that out of the way.
Got it. This spell can be reversed by the cleric to a curse upon enemies, which lowers morale and hit by -1. But they got to not be. So you got to curse them before combat, probably. And before melee, I would
We've
say.
never done that. I don't know how you can curse them outside of melee, but you could in theory.
I mean, you see them.
Right. I've always seen it where if you do curse, it does take a round still, but
And that's the another rub. This thing takes a round.
Right,
So
full
I mean,
round.
that's not that long, right? I mean, it's not a turn, so that's only a minute.
the caster determines what range he or she will cast, and it affects all creatures in area 5 to center at the point the spell is cast.
So you got to be able to see them. I think to do a curse spell, can you
Right.
curse them? Can you go through a door?
No,
Why not?
you have to see them.
Oh, you do?
I believe so.
I can't just like assume and like
No,
drop
'cause-
a curse spell in a room.
Uh,
Do I hear noise? I hear movement, and so I drop a curse spell bomb right in that room.
Well, if you made a persuasive argument, at least I'd think about it.
I haven't quite gotten there yet. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
You haven't found it persuasive yet.
No, I mean, that would be great.
Holy water.
Or unholy water if you're doing the cursing.
Oh no! Look at this. Sprinkling of specially polluted water.
Specially polluted. Isn't that unholy water?
I don't think so. Wouldn't they say unholy water? Or do you think that is unholy water? Specially polluted
I think
water.
sometimes, well, that's almost the definition of unholy water.
Do I have to drink it?
It's just sprinkling.
Oh, that's right. It's sprinkling. Why am I sprinkling it? Just to...
I think you're I think the idea is you're throwing it.
on them.
Yeah, you're supposed to be throwing it at them.
So you're standing there, and you're like, "What the? Is it raining? What's the? What? Yeah, what the? So that's a pro tip.
But that'd be a good throw because you can go up to 60 feet away. I mean, you're really just the power of my deity compels you.
So you're so this is a pro tip. If you're standing there,
right,
and all of a sudden you're like being hit by some, because this happens to us every now. Maybe that's what's every now and then you're like, "What was that?"
Right,
and it's like tastes terrible.
Yeah.
You need to get ready.
Yeah, you're being cursed.
Well, I like the bless spell. You gotta wait you got to know you're going into melee.
Well, I think that we played it, and particularly we talked about this with clerics, and a lot of people play it. If a cleric takes anything but Cure Light Wounds, they get the sad face.
I know.
They get the face of, what are you doing?
I know. Bless? You said bless?
All right. Why would you take that?
There's not even hirelings or henchmen. Right. It doesn't even help the morale of anyone here.
Probably not, David. You didn't miss anything. He's asked if I miss anything.
No.
He's been a faithful, and he's been on our show. He knows he didn't miss anything.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We're talking about bless and curse, and again, the idea of the tension of the party versus the cleric who does not. You have 4 players. One of them's the cleric. If they're first level and they have high enough wisdom, 14 or above, I think you get 2 bonus first level spells. They have 3 spells, 3 Cure Light Wounds, or 3 spells. You're going to use one for bless or command or detect magic. They're going to be sad.
They are. Well, you know how I like to pick my clerical spells.
Oh, you roll them randomly.
Exactly.
That's right.
So
you roll everything randomly.
I'm a party favorite.
Right. It's like we have one. Oh, good. The cleric's here. I'm hurt. What can you do?
Bless. I'm sure.
Well, roll it. Might as well your 3 first level
I have purify food and drink.
Right. So you join a party of other players, right? First edition, they want to play, and you volunteer to be the cleric, and I'm the fighter, and there's a thief and a magic user. We're in our first combat. I'm hurt because I'm defending the party. I go, Dan, what can you help me? Roll your 3d12. Let's see what spells you would have.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. 6. Detect magic.
Okay.
Do you need me to detect magic?
No, I need you to heal me.
Oh, okay. You haven't brought me an item. I gotcha. 5. Detect evil. Do you need me to detect evil?
I'm sensing evil from you because you don't have what you need to help.
Cure Light Wounds, baby.
Finally.
See, what are you worried about, man?
That's right.
What are you worried about?
But
I got you covered.
I'm roll D8 now. I was hurt for 7 points. I have 1 point left. That's not a D8.
There's too many dice.
They should color them. I'm going to color them for you.
Monopoly.
Yes. No, you need
color them for me.
Tunnels and Trolls. Yeah. I think it's D6.
Oh, or you know what I need? I need, like, when you get older for when you take your medication, the days of the week. Older. Or not younger. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have one. I have that. Thank you.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know you had taken that much medication.
No, I don't have that much. I have to remind myself.
Well, if you need the, obviously.
Right. But it's not. They're not multicolored. They're just at different days.
Okay, it's getting awkward. All right. So, but I need one of those where it's a little, tells you D8, and I open it.
A rack, and you can put them back in the thing. It has big.
I need to put it. Someone else needs to put them back correctly for me, though. All right. Let's see how you do. How many are you down? What
I'm down 7. I had 8. Now I'm down to 1. Okay.
4. What do you want?
Would it be nice if you could heal me again? Do you have another spell?
No, I can detect evil. There's evil in this area.
That's very useful.
Flee. All right. I think we've talked about bless.
See, so David's very merciful. He allows them to pick their spells as they need that. See, so I would play in David's game. Then the cleric would be there wouldn't be that tension. Yeah. Basically, they have the power of these spells, and they can just flip through and go, okay, I can do that. That would be, I don't know if I could get that. That would be a reach for me, but that would be nice. If I was a player, I'd be totally down with that. All right, so bless is very good. So anything else on bless? I think the power is if you're fighting, and you get 5%, could mean the difference of hitting or not, especially when you need every bonus you can get.
You're working it. That's impressive. This is your spiel when the party's looking at you saying, really, bless?
Right. Well,
this is what you're explaining.
Especially if the magic user has randomly rolled the spells and doesn't have sleep, we need to be able to attack as good as possible.
I'm sure someone could do a calculation, I mean, if everyone's plus 5% and increases whatever, right? I mean, that can be...
I would have said they should have been +2. I mean, the problem...
I agree with that.
The problem with it is Fairy Fire, which is a first-level druid spell.
And that outlines... and so then it increases it to hit because they're outlined?
Right, and it's +2, if I remember correctly.
And the druid gets a bunch of spells.
Yeah, Fairy Fire. Yeah, it's +2 to hit. Creatures outlined. So why is it not +2?
Do you think that Gary increased, because clerics get the spells, the wisdom bonus, additional spells, magic users don't. Do you think that Gary sensed that the spells for clerics are not as exciting and as jazzy, and that's why he increases? So that way you're not just, you can take a bless here and there and a purify. Do you think maybe?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think they have different roles, as we know. They're not really supposed to be offensive. They're kind of supposed to fill in the gap. But I think there's also the thing of this idea of having 4 characters is not the party that they would expect. You're supposed to have 8 or 9 characters. So you'd have multiple clerics, multiple magic users. So you'd have that ability. And I think the spell bonus is to allow for some more utility spells and to, again, give advantage to the cleric with that. Why, I play as a house rule. It's completely a house rule that I give bonuses for intelligence for the same way.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
So I use the wisdom table for intelligence. It doesn't. Why are clerics get a bonus? So, yeah. So that.
When you brought up something the last week, which I'd never thought about, and when I was going through the thief class, that I didn't realize that there are a lot of classes where you need 2 numbers. So everyone needs a 5. So everyone needs to not have a 5 or below,
right?
Unless that restricts you. But then a lot of classes, like you had mentioned, and on 2. So you had mentioned the magic user, it's not just intelligence, but there's a dex. When we were joking about, I think, Saul.
Right.
So a lot of these have multiple, which I forget about.
There's a minimum,
There's a minimum on more than 1.
Right.
I think the fighter might be the only. No, fighter has a minimum con.
Right.
So you really got to pay attention to that. I mean, not that you end up having a lot of rolls that are
if you're doing the 4d6, it's really hard to end up with anything less than an 8. But
it is interesting to think about. Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we start talking about thieves?
All right, yeah, let's get to our next segment. Let's do that.
Because I'm excited to talk about thieves. I'm ready to learn, in all honesty, and I'm not joking around. Because I find as a DM, when there's a thief in the party, having me as a DM adjudicate some of these abilities when they try to do things is tough on me at times. And so I'm looking forward to us talking about this, is exactly what the abilities are, how you play them. And maybe before we start talking about the thief material, I could talk a little bit about the history of the thief, and I can talk a lot. And
that'd be great.
Thanks to Rob from our local group here, who pointed out this playingattheworld.com, and other people have done a lot of research on the origins of the class. It was interesting. The thief class was proposed by, it was a group in Santa Monica, California. This group, it was being run at Aero Hobbies out in Santa Monica, California. Apparently a well-known group.
Gaming group, yeah.
Gaming group. Perry Aero Hobbies is closing down, sadly. But Gary, I assume it's pronounced.
Did it just close down?
I think it is. I think it's closing down. It or just closed down or it's closing down soon. Aero Hobbies, apparently. I'd not heard of it. Yeah. Gary, I assume it's probably pronounced Schweitzer. Gary Gygax had misspelled his name. He put Schweitzer. It's Gary. It's either Switzer.
Switzer or Schweitzer. Yeah, Switzer.
Maybe it's Schweitzer, and that's why he misspelled it. But apparently a player in Gary Schweitzer's or Switzer's group out there had proposed a thief. And so they were using a thief class, and he had talked to Gary about it. And Gary, in 1974, in a fanzine called Great Plains Games Players Newsletter, were sketched out the thief class. The first
I love that typewritten thing, like it's an official NIH, National Institute of Health kind of document.
Oh yeah, and you mean like the font?
It's the old typewriter.
Exactly, yeah.
It's on the old typewriter.
And Rob from our group has found that and uses that for his character sheets.
Interesting.
And it really is actually, when he's fleshed it out in 1974, it's basically the thief class that we know from 1E. Okay. It's got all those different abilities. And so I thought that was very interesting that it came from a playing group. It wasn't Gary's idea.
I think the number of outside of the core classes.
Illusionist, that was the case. We talked about that.
Yeah, so one could argue these fan favorites are not that great.
That's right.
I'm just kidding.
Well, that's right, because they're not Gary. They're not.
Well,
it was blessed by Gary.
Yeah, it's fine. Thieves are fine. So, the thief.
Wait, whoa. I'm sensing there's some hostility. I need to know if there's like some subset. Is there some like hostility toward the thief class that you have that I need to know about before we start? Because I love the thief.
I think it's, I guess it's hate in this case, hate the player, not the class kind of thing.
Oh.
The people who play.
You're talking about me?
No, the people who play thieves.
I'm in the room.
I understand. Can be problematic.
Why? They're abusing.
Well, like illusionists.
So illusionist thieves is what you're saying.
Well, they're the second part of what makes them annoying.
You're upset about the comment about the pills. I didn't know you had a thing with the days of the week. I didn't know that.
It's okay. I'm hanging in there barely, day by day. Going to the
That's
doctor.
your cure light wounds. You're praying every day.
That's right. I'm taking this pill, trying to keep it going. No. So I think the fighter makes a lot of sense and is easy for people to wrap their head around. The magic user is a difficult class, but when you think of wizards, swords, and sorcery, perfect.
Right.
The cleric is again, we've talked about there's not a whole lot of archetypes for them, but they have a valuable utility need. They straddle between the wizard and the fighter. I think the tension because two things. One, the thief has skills that no one else has, which is great, but then it causes these awkward things. So if you have more of a pulpy type of adventure, like Conan could climb walls and do all this other stuff, and he was more of a thief than a fighter in some ways, but we envision him as a fighter. So you get these scenarios where only the thief can do certain things, which you would think most people should be able to climb a wall.
Right.
Now, again, climbing wall sheer up there, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. So again, how the DM adjudicate some of this is very important, because if you just hear, I want to climb a wall, and they were very stickler, well, you can't do that. Well, then you've got all these people who can't do anything. The thief has to climb up there. And if you don't have one, you're out of gas. The second reason it's problematic is because some people play them as, I'm constantly going to rip off the party members. I'm constantly pickpocketing the barkeep.
Which is interesting, because I think Gary
the store person.
I think somewhere Gary may be talking about XP, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the scoring business, how well you've done. Is I think mentions that the thief is expected to steal a little bit of treasure from his own party.
Right.
And that's actually, I think in a lot of groups that's verboten, right? It's viewed as, you're being a jerk. Why are you screwing this up?
Right. You're talking to the quest giver, as we call it now. You're talking to the Castilian at the Keep of the Borderlands, and all of a sudden the infamous note gets passed to the DM, or it's just blatant. I walk behind him and I try to pick his pocket.
And I think, and Gary's talking about, I think steal from your own party members.
Right, steal from them, or when you open the chest, don't announce what we found. Tell me, write down.
That stuff doesn't bother me.
I've played games where anytime the thief does something, he expects me to write down all the stuff, and I'm supposed to hand it to him, and then he announces what he found.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, if he's just going to announce it, you might as well cut to the chase.
Well, no, he announces what he wants the party to know.
I see, right.
He's got the list of things.
Right. He's got a list like this. He's like, I found 3 gold pieces.
That's right. Yeah.
And you've been writing for like 5 minutes?
Right, exactly. So that just causes drama.
I think it shouldn't cause drama, because I think the other players, it should cause, in my opinion, fun in-game drama, but not drama among the actual players. So in other words, that's what thieves do. It should be fun.
Which is why what is that famous one where they turned them upside down, and there's a picture, I think it was in either B2 or one of those, where they got the halfling thief and the guy's dumping out his money. I think if you have players who are going to play with that, that's fine. But a lot of players, and I think especially as we've gotten older, we have 4 hours to play. We have 3 hours to play. We're trying to get into the dungeon, fight things, and kill things. And we got one guy haggling the shopkeep to get 3 copper pieces, while the thief is going around trying to steal this backpack from that. Yeah. And the other people are just sitting there going, for the love of God.
That's true. I agree with
that is how it's played.
Yeah.
And I think it is a form of play that should be honored. I mean, there's something about that I'm just playing my character kind of thing. But the rest of the players who are playing better be willing to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
As well. So that's what it leads to. But it's not really the class. I think the thief as itself, for all it actually has a lot of negatives when you look at it. It's actually in some ways underpowered. It's overpowered. It swings wildly, is the issue. A fighter is good pretty much everywhere. There's something to fight, it can fight. The magic users pretty much, once it gets spells. A thief, like a druid, like some of the other ones, they're either super useful or they're not useful at all. So that's my take.
So I'd like to find, right, because I know David Thompson, right, the Chamberlain, has mentioned he doesn't, like stealing from the players. I'd like to see if I could find, where Gary talks about, it might be on page 86 with gaining experience level. So he talks about clerics who refuse to help or heal and do not remain faithful to deity, fighters who hang back from combat, magic users who seek to engage in melee, And thieves, well, this is thieves who boldly engage in frontal attacks or refrain from acquisition of an extra bit of treasure when an opportunity presents itself.
I mean, it's baked in the rules. It's the first.
Yeah. So is that stealing from your? I mean, that's stealing from the party. If you're stealing.
Well, you're not stealing directly from the party.
Right, you're not picking their pocket, but you're basically doing the same thing because you've got an agreement on sharing treasure.
But you could argue, again, let's use if I was from the thief perspective, and again, the first sentence that says, the profession of thief is not dishonorable, but it's neither honorable nor highly respected in some quarters. So I'm using the Hobbit as an example. He took the most important thing out of all of it, didn't let the rest of them know, right?
Oh, the ring.
Right.
That's true.
And he took the most danger. If you took it from the from the perspective of Bilbo, I'm the one who has to sneak in there.
Yes.
And try to figure a way.
But shouldn't you have negotiated that in advance? I mean, in the player's handbook, there's a discussion way at the back, isn't there, about distribution of treasure?
Right.
And so you need to have. If you've got a thief, should you have this conversation up front?
But then there's the page in the DM guide. There's no honor among thieves and other people.
And there's nothing more exciting to kick off an adventure with an extended discussion about forming a contract or division of treasure.
Perhaps you could do that. You could come up with that. Could be a solo Patreon only, where you discuss writing of contracts. We could make up examples.
Right. Different
clauses.
We can create form contracts. we create that's what we will do. Other people like Carlos Eliza and Victor write great adventures.
Right.
We draft form contracts for division of treasure.
We've heard of this thing called Session Zero, where everyone gets together.
Session Zero. We should be Session Zero specialists.
That's right. That's all we do. In fact,
Session Zero.
We would come in for Session Zero.
Bring us in.
Bring us in.
We'll handle it.
That's right. We'll handle the whole thing.
You got a thief? All right, let's get this out on the table, thief.
All right. So
everyone, what's your alignment?
That's right. Well,
disclose your alignment. We got to get it all out in the open.
Did you all read the pre-conference notes? We provide a sample of the draft contract because we're on term 7 of this contract.
Exactly,
now,
right?
alignment.
Turn, please.
That's right. Turn.
Initial
right.
here.
Exactly. That's right.
We'll make sure. Yeah, we reduce drama. All right.
Binding arbitration.
We just travel across the country to Session Zeros.
Session Zeros.
Dan and James are here.
Dan and James, we're here to adjudicate.
We got our little briefcases.
Open it up. Please read this. Absolutely.
Right. I like it.
I think, well, there's a niche for it. But you could argue I'm the thief. I'm the one. So there's a locked chest, right?
Yes.
We know we've beaten the ogre, we know, or the wizard or whatever. Locked chest. Probably it's trapped. Thief opens it.
Right.
What am I going to
negotiate? Because that guy's rolling, and he's first level. Right. He knows he's terrible.
Right.
Everyone knows he's awful.
Right.
He's like a 20%.
Or there's a gate. They see the treasure. They can't get it to open locks. He's the only one that can open locks, except for the magic user if he has knock.
But the fighter is saying, "But I just killed the ogre."
Yeah.
What did you do, thief? You tried to hide backstab. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, everyone's going to be complaining. The magic user's like, I cast asleep. Whatever.
Maybe.
Everyone's. Maybe.
Yeah, but that's one way of looking at it. But I'm the one who's taking the poison, that there's no save. At least
everybody thinks they're the best, though.
Well, but that's where the coinage, a little slip of the hand, and that's where they get a little cash.
So if they're not doing that, you need to give them a 2 or lower when you announce their experience score, which is, of course, the most fun of the end of the adventure.
Which we should be providing forms to do performance evaluations after each session.
We should create a form.
Performance evaluation?
The 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
That'll also be in the.
Look, I think we do 360 evaluations. How do you think Saul did here in this adventure?
What's a 360 evaluation?
Where each other party member evaluates each person.
Because yes. Definitely.
That's what they evaluate.
And
you can't give 4s out or 1s out to everyone. You have to give 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4.
That's awesome. Yeah. Rank the players.
Nothing says fun.
Everyone say something positive and negative about each player.
Yes. Oh, that would be.
That sounds like a group I want to be in.
Yeah. How many people we have in our group? 200? There's not going to be 200 soon if we start that. There'll be people bailing on us.
Shall we start with? Can we go on page? Shall we start with talking about who can be a thief? Right, and what level? Because I'm just going in the order, right? Because that's the first thing you would hit, isn't it? Oh wait, what do you not? You don't want a 5 in what? If I have a 5 or lower, I must be a thief. Do you know? I don't know. It's right here.
What did you say? What was it?
To roll a 5. If I roll a 5 or lower, and I want to be a thief, I must place that 5 or lower in which character ability?
Wisdom.
You are right, sir.
Yes.
Now the question is, that's very impressive. Now the question is why? So what does this say about thieves? They're not very wise? Because they're like going to end up in the clinker?
Well, do you want to live forever kind of thing. They're just, they're committing acts of wise people don't usually acts that would put them in jail or get them killed.
Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so you should put, if you want to play the typical thief, you should play your lowest score in wisdom.
Right.
Okay. I think you should have a high charisma. Sure. I think that can be very helpful, right? A lot of character classes, you dump the charisma
that's
to
the
lowest.
archetype, the suave, debonair thief,
Right, well, maybe.
Could be.
I mean, you could also be like the low life.
Yeah, he could be like the burglar here on page 27.
He doesn't seem suave. He's not even wearing a shirt.
Right. He's very hairless.
Right? We'll get him. That iconic.
27.
But you know what? You know why he became a thief? Because he's got those long arms.
And he doesn't have shoes. He needed a thief.
Yeah, he has no shoes.
He has pants.
No shirt.
He has a knife and pants. He's just starting out.
Yeah, that's right. He can't even afford. But he has a really long arm.
He does. That arm is not proportional.
It is not. He's like an ape.
He's Larry the lefty.
Or a gorilla, yeah.
Larry the left leaning.
It's enormous.
Right. That's not proportional.
If we could adjust that, I think it would go down to his ankle.
Right. He's like leaning over there. But yes, you have to have no wisdom. They're perceived as not being very wise.
Okay, so James, who can be a thief?
I don't think there's any exclusion for being a thief.
You are right. This is awesome. What does that say about the thief? Because
anyone can steal.
I like it. Anyone can steal. And of course, there is only one class, one race that is limited, and that would be
the half-orc.
You are absolutely
and I don't understand that either.
And there's something, we've talked about this before, and my friend Edward picked up on this. There's something, I think it's a typo, but people argue, no, it's not, because you can have magical adjustments. It says on footnote 9, one of our footnotes. This will be in our asterisk, right? Asterisk and footnotes.
That's right. AF.
AF. Have you consulted the AF?
Rules AF.
Rules AF. Have you not read the AF?
What's
wrong with you?
Rules AF.
And the Grognards Guild presents the Rules AF.
That's right.
We have so many projects. We need more
I think I have so many projects. Yeah, we need the...
That's right. These are your projects.
Yeah,
you have so many projects. Half-orc thieves with a dexterity of less than 17 are limited to 6th level. Those with a dexterity of 17 are limited to 7th level, but they can go to 8th level. What is odd about this?
Because their max dex is 17.
Exactly. So we've had this debate before. Some people will say that's not a typo because you can have magical can increase it. I tend to think it was a typo.
I believe it's a typo because the maxes on other things max to the level, the ratio level.
How do you play it though?
I've never had a half-orc thief that's lived that long.
I would play it that you're limited to 7th level and you need magical, because I would play it as written. I'm going to assume, look, it's a type. Maybe it's a typo, but
yeah. But then again, when you got gauntlets of dexterity, for instance, and that goes back to this type of thing, where you have a way to magically improve it.
Then if you lose those, do you drop down?
Well,
you lose your level.
Potentially, you could lose your level.
Okay, and a half. Well, there are other typos like the halfling dexterity.
Right, the infamous
18. It said con 19, and Gary later
said it was switch.
He said it was switch. So okay, so everybody else is unlimited, which is pretty awesome.
Yes.
So if you want to be a thief.
So let's start with the pluses. Number 1, everyone can be a thief. Number 2, of all the experience levels, they are the least. You need the least experience to go up in level.
They're always the first one, right? The thief is always like, woohoo, I'm 2nd level, and everyone else is like, boo. You only go 1251, I think. 1251. You can become a footpad. Oh, and let's get this clear. You've not heard us say at all, rogue.
Right.
To us, a rogue is a 1st level thief.
That's right.
But it is you're a thief. You're not a rogue like in later.
Look, your job is to steal stuff.
And there is
burglar would have been fine too, which is what's level's burglar?
Burglars. Oh, that's 5th level.
Oh, 5th level.
What's interesting is when you're level 1, in parentheses it says apprentice, which is interesting because usually everything else you're an apprentice before.
Right. That is interesting.
1. I don't know if he really means. Did Gary really mean I'm
because they don't say that on any of the other ones.
I don't think so.
If you're a prejudicitator, or a veteran, or
if you're
acolyte,
or if you're a 5th level cleric,
you're nothing. You're perfect. Back in the day.
That's right. It didn't say prefect. Is that right? It said perfect.
It said perfect, if I remember correctly.
In all honesty, the lack of typographical errors is actually quite impressive. Seriously, because for all of us who've written a lot of stuff, it's very easy to have a lot of typos. In all honesty, the fact that Gary didn't have a lot of typos,
but we also don't have a company that we're publishing stuff to.
I know, but what was TSR? Wasn't that just? I mean, I don't know. I guess there was a decent amount of people by the time.
Right. These books. I give a lot of anything pre-OD&D, you can have as many typos as you want. They can white that out or scratch it out. But
Right.
when you're printing a published book,
I guess so.
someone should be doing it. But these are complicated.
And no thief in OD&D, I don't, right? No thief in OD&D, right? Because I think, right?
I believe
it was
that's
later,
right.
74. His OD&D was already out, probably
Right,
74,
it came out.
right?
I think it was in one of the supplements.
Oh, was it maybe the Greyhawk supplement or something?
Yeah, which supplement did, for those folks out there, did OD&D came out?
I'm going to guess Greyhawk because I feel like Greyhawk had all the stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of the unearthed arcana of that.
Ooh.
Oh, I said
so.
the
So back in the day, I would have been like, I don't play with Greyhawk.
No, just core books.
It's too crazy.
2, 3.
Okay, so yeah, you move up.
These are home rules. Yeah, so they move up relatively quickly, but that unfortunately is counterbalanced as we talk about experience and levels, and the cost of training can be problematic. I've seen many in our campaign.
Yes.
Where the thief wants to go up in levels, but they don't have enough money.
Because they move up so quickly in experience.
Right. 1250 is what you need, but you need 1500 experience point, 1500 gold pieces to train.
And the players always want to say, okay, well, the whoever, dwarves, give us, no. And then I was like, okay, I want to take out a loan. And I'm always like, well, what's your credit rating? I mean, seriously, are you a good, the money lender isn't going to loan, so you're a bunch of low-level adventurers. The mortality rate's really high. You're high risk. I want to loan it to the guy, the shipwright.
The farmer.
The farmer, the shipwright.
The problem is the volume of money you're going to need. 200 gold pieces. That's a substantial amount of money. For adventurers, it's not. But for the normal townsfolk, 250 gold. Let's say you had 1,250 gold. Somehow you got 1,250 gold.
Yeah, that's an enormous amount.
Right, and you only need 250 gold to get enough so you can do 1,500 per level, based on and assuming you've stolen everything that you've seen, so you got a 1 rating. Mm-hmm. That's 250 gold you need to get from a money changer. That's not going to happen.
No, in the Thieves Guild, look, I think
how much is the Thieves Guild going to get?
Yeah, but you're getting training from the Thieves Guild, aren't you? So I always assumed the Thieves Guild makes it easier for you to find someone who will you can be an apprentice to train you. I don't think the Thieves Guild is giving you a break. Do you play that Thieves Guild gives you a break or a discount?
I certainly wouldn't give them a break. What I would argue is that a lot of places don't do this, and this is an area that DMs should do more, is that pretty much if there's a civilization, the idea, we don't live in the world anymore, thank goodness, in most of the places we live, of the idea of mobs and gangs. But, 150
Wait to Aurelian.
Right.
There's two, I love this, in Aurelian, there's 2 power structures. There's the council and the mob.
Right. So, but most,
it
talks about Thieves Guilds. It talks about basically any town of any significance is going to have, it may be 2 people of the Thieves Guild, but there's going to be a Thieves Guild.
Right.
And if they start seeing people stealing, and it's talked about that.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get the knockover.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be freelancing.
Right. And if they hear a party's going into a dungeon and you're showing up, you need to get a guest visa or something like that. So I would argue, and again, I don't do this and I probably should do it more, is, hey, Bob, the thief, you want to be 2nd level? Sure, we'll help you with 2nd level. But the 10% that we normally get, it's now 30% from you, that you're going to give us more of your money back.
Because you've been going out.
A, you've been going out, and B, we're going to give you we're going to train you the extra 200. You're still going to give us 1,200.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the 250, but you're going to pay it back because all the score is 30%. And you're going to have to steal from the rest of your party.
Right. So it's a big negotiation.
Right.
Well, and it doesn't surprise you that you don't do that because we have limited time now.
Right.
And that's time consuming.
But that's what you would do. You'd force motivation of the thief. He's got to pay his debts off, just like Smedley did.
Right.
It would be that kind of scenario.
Right. Smidgen,
excuse me, not Smedley. He had other problems. Never mind. We're not going to talk about that.
Everybody had problems.
Everyone's got problems. They're gnomes.
In that game. They were all... Listen, if you're going to hell...
That's
you're not typical, right?
Exactly,
you got something going on.
You got something going on.
You're heading there.
But that's because again, if you don't allow the thieves to go up in level timely, then they're going to be underpowered. A 5th level thief is not as good as a 5th level magic user, which is not as good. Fighter 5th level, magic user 5th level, a thief 5th level, clerik 5th level. They're not the same. A thief generally needs to have more levels. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So shall we talk about, you want to talk about weapons and armor before we get into, because I think the skills is going to take longer, so maybe we can get the weapons and armor out of the way.
Why you do that? So the Chamberlain from Australia, can you tell us the Dragon magazine that talk about the type of thieves? Because I did look at it, I just didn't have the number of that.
And I think I know 115 may have been all about thieves.
That's a little late.
I know, that's why I know. I know. It talks a lot about guilds
at that point.
I know. But it does have an article in there about Thieves equipment, and I know that White Dwarf also had an article about Thieves equipment, which is kind of fun.
Well, if you send that, we'll put it in our show notes for folks who come afterwards. Go ahead. So we're talking about equipment?
Yeah, just to get that out of the way, because I think we're going to talk a lot probably about the skills, right? I mean, that's the main thing, isn't it? With the so let me find after all these years, I still struggle to find.
It's after the classes, before the spells.
Okay, right here. Thank you. So I like somewhere where Gary says.
Oh, that one.
I'm sorry, this one.
Yeah.
Somewhere Gary says, well, Thieves have a lot of choices with weapons. I'm like, really? Really?
Compared to the magic user, yes.
Yeah, right. Club. Do you know that you can use the club on a back? It's any weapon. You can use a club on a backstab.
Yeah.
Because I think most time you think about it,
it's a back hit.
Right.
It's like the flesh golem when he's beating that guy.
Exactly. Oh, can you tell me the weapons? There's an asterisk all over the place.
So dagger, sword, but not all swords.
You're right. That's a 4 asterisk.
4 asterisk. Oh,
yeah. Our
rules AF is going to be awesome.
It is.
People are going to love that. If I'm going to make up a mock thing, people on Twitter are going to love rules AF. They're going to think
rules AF. Exactly. Asterisk.
That's right. They're going to think that's amazing.
There's 3 swords that they can use.
They can use a short sword.
Yes.
They can use a long sword.
Yes.
And they can use a broadsword.
You are the man to write rules AF.
That's right.
Do you even need the book to write it? You just sit here and do it.
It's like, what is that? I know some things well, and there's a lot of things I don't know well.
It's a shame that we can't make more money off of this knowledge, right?
Well, like all of us. I mean, David's like that. I know Vic is like that. We've played for a long time. When you DM and you just only 30 years ago, that's what we did. I was the DM,
right?
And it was my life. I mean, we poured over these tomes, and did it.
So they cannot use a bastard sword or a 2-handed sword. I assume a bastard sword is pretty big. Is that the problem?
Yeah, it's a hand. Well, I think that's called hand and a half. It's because you can wield it 2-handed or single.
Okay, and we should talk about dual wield because that's useful for thieves. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. So all right. So what else can they say? You can use a sword,
the club, dagger,
of course. Yes.
Can they use a dart?
They can.
Yes.
And one more. It's a missile weapon.
A missile weapon.
Oh, think about it. Thieves. What are they swinging around? Sling.
Oh, sling. That's right. That is the other weapon. Sling.
Yeah. So that's it. So those are the 5. What are this? Of course.
But they can't use a bow until the book that shall not.
They
be named.
cannot, which is all people are confused about, and because if they're used to the book that shall not be named, right? So no. Yeah. So the only missile weapons are
sling and dagger.
And dart.
And dart. Yes.
Right.
Which, as we've said, they're not little darts. They're not.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't say length.
There's no description,
I don't think.
But later they're. I think even in the book that shall not be named, they're bigger darts.
Yeah. So you really should. You can say I'm taking 24 darts.
Yeah, how you carry it.
But this is interesting. If they're that big, isn't the rate of fire 3?
Yes.
That's really nice.
Yes, and that's why magic users go with it.
Right.
If you're a first level magic user, you have hopefully you have sleep, and you're chucking arrow or darts in the back.
Right, but the problem is once they're in melee, you should not be chucking darts into melee.
Right, but that's the only way you can actually. You have, in assuming most magic users, they're going to have an okay dex, maybe even a high dex. If they have 2 scores, they're going to put it in intelligence and dex.
Well, they certainly, because they want the AC adjustment.
That's right, and then they have a chance. They have plus something to hit
on the attack, on the missile. That's right.
So that's why it's a win-win.
That's right. That's right.
But we're talking about thieves here on GROGTALK, which is the other reason why dex is important, because they lowers their armor class, because there's restrictions on it.
Because what armor can they wear?
Leather.
That's right. Now I think so. It does say only leather. Is it only leather though while they're engaging in thief function? So can I put on plate mail and go into combat?
Well, in theory, you the DM could say you can put anything you want, but typically when you violate a class restriction, you don't get experience points during that time.
Oh. So okay, but so if I wanted to, if I'm a magic user, can't I put on plate mail and run into combat? I just can't cast spells unless I'm an elf.
Well, then the argument is,
multi-class.
You may not even know how to put the armor on.
Yeah, right. The helmet's backwards.
Right. It may take you 45 minutes to put it on. The battle will be over by the time you put it on.
I'm coming.
Or you look like one of the hobbits when they're trying to put man-size armor on. You're a scrawny magic user. You don't have to be, but if you were,
right. Now I can't wear. Now studded leather is a no because I think that.
Well, they say later in the book that shall not be named, you can wear studded, but there's negatives to thieving.
Oh, I think that
and elfin chain you can wear later too, but in this it's pure leather.
And yeah, I think that there was a sage advice that said that because the theory was that it would be too noisy. Right, it's the metal. Right, exactly. So it's only leather. So that's rough. So the good news is your high dex. Obviously, dex is your prime
Right.
requisite, you want to put it in that, and you get extra. We could talk about that. You're going to get extra experience points.
Right.
What is it, just for high dex?
Just high dex, if I recall.
Yeah. So you get the 10% to experience.
So which is huge. You know, if you got one skill, you better put in dex.
And shield.
One attribute.
I want to have a shield.
No.
Can I have a shield? Oh, okay.
Not in this version. The book that shall not be named.
Why do you keep talking about? Let's just ignore it.
Well, because
completely.
we have folks who, I think,
whose podcast is this anyway?
This is our podcast, but we have and we would just talk this regardless. People talk, but apparently people like what we talk about.
Yeah.
I want people to realize that we understand well, at least some of us understand what's in the book.
Right.
That shall not be named.
And I will at some point.
And this is really an honor to you. I would have no problem.
No, I know. Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is more of,
right.
You've made a hard rule. First edition doesn't jump the shark until May of 1985.
That's right. And that's 1.5. All right. But that's another conversation. Okay. So, all right. So Thieves. All right. So now, shall we talk about...
So Thieves has a very lengthy... What's interesting is they're one of the lengthiest descriptions in the player's handbook.
Right. What dex do I need?
That says 9.
That's easy. So I can be a fairly
You can be an average person.
Right.
But be a thief. Again,
Right.
It doesn't take much to walk up to someone with a knife and say, give me your money.
Right. Now, it says here, high intelligence is also desirable. And this is my question. Why?
Well,
so in other words, you better have a DM that's using intelligence attribute roles.
Well, later
right?
you can read languages.
Oh, okay.
You can cast magic user scrolls at higher levels. So
do I need his intelligence affect that?
I don't know if it automatically does, but I think it's implied that you need to be able to do that. So that's why it's important.
Okay, so I need a greater dex than 15. Oh, and I guess we'll talk about the racial adjustments as we talk about the different things that these can do. So,
yep.
A glance at character ability section will reveal that a high dexterity benefits these. So yeah, you definitely, obviously, everyone knows this. You want a high dex.
Well, let's talk about the alignment now.
I love it.
I know. So I like your version of this. I never play it this way, but go ahead.
Wait, what version? I think there's.
You say all thieves are neutral or good, although they can be
neutral or evil.
Yeah, neutral or evil.
Yeah.
And of lawful or chaotic nature.
Well, so what's the? I mean, it's.
Well, you basically say they can be neutral good. That's it.
Oh, yes for the goods?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Rarely.
Rarely.
Well, again, all thieves are neutral or evil, comma, although they can be neutral good rarely, comma, and of lawful or chaotic nature. So, I think the way you're reading it, and it's definitely a legitimate thing, is that middle part is you remove it and you would just say all thieves are neutral evil and of lawful or chaotic nature. And
correct.
Occasionally they can be neutral good.
Yeah.
Rarely, excuse me.
Though I would think you could be true neutral.
Okay, thank you, Dave. 104, Dragon 104. 104 is in the wheelhouse. It's close enough.
I think you can. That's the way. Yeah, that is. I mean, I read it that you can be any alignment as a thief other than lawful good and chaotic good. Which I understand doesn't make a lot of sense because you think that these might tend toward chaotic. I understand. We can talk about the lawful business because if you want to move up in the Thieves Guild, it's probably better to be lawful because they're rules. And you want to follow those rules. You don't want to be a freelancer. But, I always thought that was odd, the neutral good part, because it was almost like, well, you got to be neutral or evil, but you can be neutral good because it says neutral in it, which was weird, right? Because I would have thought if you're anything, you're lawful or, I guess lawful good, it would be weird. Would it be weird to be a lawful good thief?
Well, you could. I mean, it's just like I know people have argued later about, lawful good assassins. The kind of that you're.
Born.
Born or whoever.
Well,
James Bond.
Right.
From the British perspective.
Right.
He's a good thief. So
right.
I thought there was some place.
What was it? Was it the famous line in one of these movies with Schwarzenegger where she says, Jamie Lee Curtis says, "You've killed people." He says, yes, but they were all bad.
That's right. They're all bad. They're all bad.
Exactly. Okay. Well, how do you read it?
Well, I've allowed pretty much anything because there was another area that says alignment. You could do any. And I forgot where that is now. Just like paladins can be all good. I mean, paladins can be lawful good.
But why would it say, although they can be neutral good? I mean, that's a strong suggestion.
Right.
That you can't be other goods, right?
And of the goods, I would think chaotic good would be more.
I know.
Like it. So a lawful good, I mean, you definitely get a stretch for. So I've allowed them pretty much to do everything, but they have to give a good backstory of why.
I like the neutral good option though, because if you want to have a good party, You know, you hate to have the good party, and then you got the chaotic neutral thief.
Right. Well, but that's with with our players, at least that's what they tend to want to be. The good news is most of the players want to be chaotic neutral.
No, they don't want. No, it's got to be pre-gens.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good party.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So.
And I think generally you're going to. I mean, the thrust of it is stealing from people is not a good thing.
Oh, I like. Yes. Well, look. I like David Thompson says neutral good equals ends justify.
That's right.
The means. So it's basically like I'll do whatever is necessary to benefit good. So I'll even be a thief. Lawful would be problematic with that.
Yeah.
And okay, I like that.
Okay. I mean,
right.
There's
Vic. I'm sorry. Vic has rewound inside.
That's right. So again, you saw the spoiler alert. So if you talk to the emulator from Cleveland,
yeah,
let him know that because he wasn't here, he wasn't on.
Yeah,
probably would have been adjudicated differently.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, you know. He was sleeping.
That's right. He was.
He did his sleep roll.
So anyone wants to buy us a red dragon, we can.
He's
put
in his man cave sleeping, huh?
I don't know. We'll have strange dolls just lining this thing.
Yeah, right. We'll look like when my daughter when she collected her. They called her friends, and she had like 100 stuffed animals.
That's right. They'll just be pouring over the thing of all the creatures killed here.
And I also like it. Benyon talked about chaotic good, the lovable rogue. I mean, yeah, that kind of brings up the Robin Hood business. Were any of them sort of the lovable rogues? Were they chaotic good?
Yeah, they certainly weren't chaotic neutral.
You know what I'm thinking about a game for next year, GROGTALK would be killing Robin Hood. Like you're lawful. You're like lawful neutral.
Right, you're the sheriff?
Yeah, you're working for the sheriff.
Right.
You're the party that's party. You're a lawful neutral party.
Right.
And you're like, you got to go in and get these guys.
I like that.
You like that?
I did that at Eco Terrorist. We still want to do a bunch of druids go in and
or the bards in the band.
The
bards in the band's back together.
So
a bunch of bards.
Let us know. Yeah, there's a bunch of things we could do.
We need more time.
Yes.
We need to expand the con.
We need to start now.
Yeah, we need like a week of con games, right? We've got
okay.
a lot of ideas.
Yeah, if I retire, that'd be great.
All right.
I think the alignment, again, for me, is it's less about. This is where depends on who you're playing with. Are they going to spend the effort to do it? If not, then yeah, they should be probably neutral.
Well, and let's talk quickly about, because I know we got skills to get to. Let's talk about lawful side, because I know that Rob from our local group, he asked to play a lawful neutral thief.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that this is, a lot of people I think might think this is odd. But law is, lawful is also you believe, as I understand it, you believe in order, say like a guild. You like the rules.
Right. There's rules. It's just I'm following the rules of my group.
Yeah, right. Lawful can't mean you follow all rules, no matter what government adopts them, right? I mean, it can't be that rigid, can it?
Well, it can be. I think.
No, it could be for a character.
Like a policeman
follows
the rules of and doesn't adjudicate whether they're good or not. If the rule is people with purple hats go to jail, they're going to put people with purple hats in jail. I mean, if they're lawful neutral.
So you could have you could have characters that lawful aspect is they follow all those rules basically no matter what, right? For the government. But lawful can also mean I like order with the guild, and so I'm a thief and I like the order of that.
Right.
But I'm gonna steal from people.
So Mikey Mank wants us to do an episode on Mold Day Cook. Yeah, absolutely, we'll do that. We have him over here. We'd love to.
And we're going to do one. I think we may do one on Holmes. I'd like to get the guy from Holmes who did Blue Holmes on here.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, lawful and neutral, the easiest way to archetype is they support the guild. They follow the guild rules.
Right.
And because again, the idea of the guild, back to the mob thing, is that the town is separated in these territories, and this guild. If you pay protection money, we're not going to rob from you.
Right.
If you, if there's rules, we don't rip off people. We don't rip off old ladies and whatever. There may be these whole kinds of, the idea of the mob without the killing.
Mm-hmm.
The mob could be, I've heard lawful evil from mobsters. They love their family. They're not. But they whack people all over the place because they didn't follow the rules.
Right.
So you could adjudicate that evil or lawful neutral depending on your point.
Yeah, and I think that goes to where the concept of alignment. There needs to be some flexibility within each alignment, right? So I think if the DM is like, you have to play lawful neutral this way, I think you allow the players to describe their version of lawful neutral.
Yeah, and I think to me, going back to, I always answer it this way. If you're not using patron deities, this is when it gets hard. Who is your god of thievery in this thing, or the god of the city, or whatever? that should, and work with the player to describe the attributes of that deity. Then you set your alignment that way. We don't do that enough because it's more work for the DM. So if the player wants to do something out of script, okay, great. Who's your patron deity? What rules are going to be followed? Because that's how you're going to enforce it. Because invariably they're going to drift towards chaotic neutral. Right. This ambiguous, when push comes to shove, they're going to go murder hobo. Right. What's good for me? Right. If they don't have any quote unquote self-imposed penalty. But if the players are invested in their people and they use the deities and they make a deity that is part of that, I was super impressed by when we give people backstories, they're going to follow those backstories. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Their own players, it's almost like they're more vested in the pre-gens than they are in their own characters a lot of times.
I agree with you completely.
And that's the part I don't get.
I am sold on the backstories because, the first time I did it, I was like, okay, we'll see how it goes. And I was very impressed that the players, I think they have fun I think they really do have fun role-playing, especially if they know it's just a character for this session. Right. So you don't have to be bumbly forever. Right. You don't have to be in love with bumblebees forever, but or whatever. But for today, I'll have fun doing that. So, but
I think we should give, and again, what's another thing we have to talk about? How do we translate that enthusiasm that I've seen for 3 or 4 hours into your campaign? And that's almost counter thing to what we talked about when we first started, which is the old school idea is you don't have a huge backstory. The game fills out your backstory. Right. So it's that tension. So anyway, some good things to talk about.
All right. So
all right. Good night. Sorry here. I sorry. We've I heard you talk about hair noise, hide and seek. Oh, I will. Good night, David. I know it's late for you. Thank you so much.
You know what we should do after he goes to sleep? We should sneak in, and we should like pickpocket.
Pickpocket our own people?
Not backside.
Yeah, of course. Or use the assassination table. Who's your level? Thanks. Well, he's the one who mentioned it.
He's getting scared now. We're scaring the poor guy.
Good night, Mr. Chamberlain.
You're fine. We're not going to lock your door.
Well, we have a vague understanding of where Australia is, so we probably won't find his house.
We'll end up in Japan or Korea or wherever.
Probably end up somewhere there because we all think it's right next to each other. Okay, let's keep going.
All right. Let's talk about, so thieves are principally meant to take by cunning and stealth. They have a 6-sided die, so that's not great.
Right. It's not the worst.
Okay. They're able
to low end.
Light armor and use, this is where Gygax says, a fair number of weapons. They fight only slightly more effectively than magic users are able to use stealth in combat through backstabbing. So, all right, so let's go through the functions. Function number 1, picking pockets or folds of a garment or a girdle. Includes such activities as pilfering and filching small items. So that sounds like if you're trying to steal something out of the treasure hoard, would you make them roll on the pick? So is it appropriate to use a pickpocket table? Because it says also pilfering and filching small items. Also includes activities such as, so it sounds like...
I absolutely would, if you have someone who's going to steal from the party and they're going to try to do it stealthily, they have to make a pickpocket.
Right, so I want to take, so there's a treasure chest there, people are talking. Yeah. I'm going to try to steal a little bit of the treasure. You would do a pickpocket roll.
Right, especially if they're being observed. If they're not being observed, if the rest of the party is guarding the door and they're unconscious, you could argue, yes, they could stealth through that. But if they're opening the chest, everyone's watching the person doing the chest, then they're doing the palm.
It's the equivalent of like picking a pocket, whereas there's risk of being detected.
And you could also argue because they're being observed and the party knows this thief, maybe they've already think it would be at a minus, but at a minimum, they're going to have to make a roll.
Right, okay.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Okay.
And a lot of times we don't do that. So that's one of the ways you can, again, as the DM, now you're trying to balance between making it realistic and not punishing a player for playing their character. That's the classic... Or you're just doing this because you want to discourage me from ripping off. Just playing my character, man.
Right. And Gygax says all these roles, and maybe we should follow along because there's 2 places. Yeah. There's both the player's handbook, where on page 27
they describe the first part, because then there's additional description.
And on 28, and then there's notes. There's 2 parts, right? Page 27 of the player's handbook, and then on the next page 28 is picking pockets, and then you also have to go to the DMG. I think it's 19 and 20 maybe.
Yeah,
it is. Starts at 19.
Nice.
So, well, I actually researched for this one. I actually studied. So, pickpockets on page 28, it adds a pickpocket fails if a score above the percentage shown for the level of the thief is generated. That's easy. But if it's 21% or more, the victim notices the thief's attempt. The potential victim, now this gets not that complicated, but I think people forget this. The potential victim reduces the thief's chances of success by 5% for every level of experience.
Right.
So it's not so easy. So I say I want to pick this guy's pocket. You got to figure out
what level they are.
Whether the victim
in
is.
relation to the thief.
You roll, and it's 21% or higher. They failed.
Right.
It's noticed. And I think Gary says somewhere that they may just sort of watch you. They may not let you
know. That's in the explanations on 19.
Is that on 19? Oh,
of
right.
the DMG.
Right, which here it says, failure allows additional attempts. The victim might notice and allow the thief to operate anyway in order to track him or her to the place he or she uses as a headquarters.
Right.
Up to 2 attempts at picking a pocket can be made during a round.
So this to me goes all the way back to your player wants to do that. Just have him roll, find out if he's dead set on doing it. Just have him roll and see what he rolls.
Well, and you would roll, right? So the DM should roll because he's not going to know, right?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, you should. Some people like rolling everything up in the open. Other things would.
Well, I'll tell you why this one shouldn't be in the
because
open.
they could be trapped.
Exactly, the 21% is right.
I get you.
All right.
So you'd roll it. And then I'd worry about all the pluses and minuses because if they got a 3%, they're going to make it. If they rolled a 97, they failed and they got caught. Or 47.
Right.
Okay, now I got to go try to figure
before
it out.
doing the math.
Right.
Roll it.
Yeah. Especially if you're rolling, because I know the players want to know what do I need because they want to.
Right.
They want to, like their key or mental power is going to compel the dice to be rolled. Yep.
Okay, opening locks. This is where there is some controversy.
Lock, yes.
So on page 27, opening locks includes figuring out how to open sliding puzzle locks, and this is
magical closures.
And this is where it gets
foiling. That's right.
Foiling magical closures, and this has never been explained. I wonder if in Gary's way back when does it say? Yeah, look, it goes all the way back to 74. In parentheses, in the 74 article, the new character type. He says by picking or even foiling magical closures.
There you go. So straight from the beginning.
So we've had this conversation. Does that include wizard lock? Because you read it that the spell says
only a knock can take it off.
Exactly.
Or strength.
Right.
If you're super strong,
you
can bash through it. So I would argue we've never played it that way. I don't know if anyone, but if a person came to me, I would say, yeah, because if you have a super strong person, if they're 1800 or whatever the case, if they're 1891, they have a chance to do it.
Right.
I would argue that just like an open door for that, you have one chance at it.
Mm-hmm.
That they can't do, because here you could try to, what does it say here in this under opening locks? Can take 1 to 10 rounds. Okay, yeah. In other words, you only get one shot at it, regardless. You get
one shot. Where does that say? I'm sure you're right.
I think that's.
Oh, yeah, there it is on page 28. May be attempted by an EV, but once per lock.
Right.
If it exceeds it, it's failed and can never try again. So, I mean, I assume you would give it a deduction on a magical closure.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. I like it. I mean, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
But
it's
only
fun.
if they. Here's the thing. Only if they, and I don't say only because. If I remember this, that would be great, but I can't remember all the rules. But if a player brings this up, I would allow it. If they don't bring it up and I forget, well, that's their problem. That goes back to I'm not responsible for knowing all the rules. They have to help me with that. Or they at least need to read their characters.
Right.
And if they read it and go, oh, it says magical thing. Okay. But they can't tell me after, an hour later, hey, I could have been able to do it. Well, you rolled, you didn't make it. Or you didn't even try.
Right.
Well, you can try now if you'd like.
Right.
Feel free to go back.
You're the one that got the training.
Right.
I'm not trained as a thief. You are.
Exactly.
Okay, so may be tempted only once. We've already read that. May try again. Well, okay. When you rise higher in level.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm 4th level now. Quick, let's go back to that dungeon and see if that
is it still there?
That's right. See if that door is still locked.
Scarlet Rose's treasure chest. The act of picking a lock to be open takes from 1 to 10 rounds, depending on the complexity. As a rule, it'll take 1 to 4 rounds to pick. So I guess if you really want to have wandering monsters and it's a magical closure,
right? It'd be a whole turn.
It would be a long time.
It would take a long time.
I
It'd
take
the full time
because you're like, damn. It's a magical closure.
Right.
You're sitting down. You got a little headlamp underneath. And
you got the little just like a little tea lamp. You got it right there.
Exactly. And you're like, give me the, that's not it.
Right.
I said the
Pliers,
whatever.
Exactly. Scalpel.
It's not the scalpel.
Putting it in your hand.
Yeah, you're just like an angry thief.
Well, I got one long arm. I mean, it's hard to do this. I got to kind of angle this way or maybe this way, apparently. So
we got to have a backstory. Someone's just like a really angry player. Yeah.
We got tons of that.
That's
pretty much everyone. Okay.
What kind of games you? All right. Find and remove.
Ah, yes, the find and remove trap.
Right. And I think I've been playing this wrong. I've been being too nice because
I think a lot of people are playing this wrong.
I'm allowing them to find magical traps, and this is clearly verboten.
Yes.
It pertains to relatively small mechanical devices. So it's got to be, so it's not, so no magical, right? Such as poison needles, spring blades, and the like. Finding is accompanied by inspection, and they are nullified by the removal and rendered harmless.
Now, there is discussion of when you talk about, do you find and remove?
Yes, that's page 28, actually. It's accomplished. It says roll for each function separately. Right. A trap must be located before removal can be attempted. So yes, unfortunately, you need 2 rolls.
Right, you need to find and then remove, which is how I've played it.
Right.
Now the question is, does the trap go off if they fail either roll?
You know, and that is interesting because on the DMG, and what I love about the DMG, because you talked about this before, is we didn't talk about the preface on thief abilities. Right. It says the following additional explanations of thief abilities will help you to prevent abuse of these activities by thieves. So it's great because once again, it's Gary coming in and saying,
you bring that out. You bring out the Grinch's traps too.
Oh yeah, for Grinch's traps.
Exactly.
So this is where
this is the cold shower. The cold
right. It's like, okay, there's been abuse. I put out the player's handbook.
Right. People are just going off with this.
So it's the same amount of time for opening locks. Each function counts as a separate amount of time. And this is where I guess the abuse came, because Gary is laying down on page 19. He's putting magical traps, but not magical or magically hidden traps.
Yeah.
Cannot be found.
Right.
I guess that also means if they can't be found, they can't be removed. So glyph warding, no.
That's right.
Right, you're not going to find that, right? Anything.
That's right. Glyph warding, explosive runes.
So how do you find that? Detect magic?
Yeah, you could.
Otherwise, you're going to walk across it. It's time to save, basically. Glyph warding is pretty nasty.
Explosive runes, any of that kind of stuff.
Okay. So it's a separate roll each. It's nothing magical.
So how would you adjudicate? I ruled if they don't find the trap, it doesn't go off because they wouldn't know about it because you want them to try it.
Right.
But if they try to remove the trap and they fail, the trap goes off.
I assumed that was a rule as written.
And it may
because
be,
everyone said, I don't know where it is either. Maybe somebody out there knows, because everyone, I think, plays it that way. Right. At least that I've played with is, you just know that's part of the risk of being a thief.
And you could adjudicate, like if they just mildly failed, let's say, their find and remove is 35%, and they rolled a 39. Maybe the scythe trap doesn't go off, or you can give some latitude, but clearly it fails, and you would not be able to do that again. You basically are unable to disable it. You could found it. I know there's a trap. It has something to do with I click on this and this happens, but I don't know.
I think that's fun. I like that because I like random. I like this idea, and I don't think you're violating the rules as written because unless someone points it out, it's not in here, which I can fill the gap. I like that idea that maybe if it's a certain percentage, like 21 or I don't know, whatever they pick by higher, you're so bad. Because I could see an intermediate where you find it, you're trying to remove it, but you're not so bad you don't trigger it.
Right.
I like that. And you know what? This is one of those roles that you can have out in the open because they're going to know if they not the find, but the remove. You can have the players roll the remove. Right. That's not a problem.
You could, and. I think it's interesting because to me that's AD&D 1.2. It's not. I think old school, you either pass or fail. There is no.
It's binary.
Right. There's no gray area. But in the modules, they started adding, hey, if you succeed by 5 or more, or if you fail by 5 or more, this event happens, which is not just that. So there is, and I consider the modules. They were approved by TSR. They're as canonical as these books, unless. Later they said, "Oh no, we screwed up and we made this module." So, and it's not the way it should be. So.
It's certainly suggesting it's an appropriate gap filler.
And there are other RPGs and other games that do have that sort of a sliding scale between wonderful success, failure, terrible failure kind of thing. You have this kind of range based on the goal that you have.
Right.
So if you're so many derivations off what you needed. You either flawlessly did it, or it was the worst outcome. The scythe stabs you directly, and you take double damage or something like that. So, and then that goes back to the whole criticals and fumbles. Do you want to play that? Players sometimes like that. Players sometimes hate that.
Right. I'm working on that. I got an idea, but I won't talk about that. All right. Moving.
Moving silently.
Silently.
Yes, we could spend an hour on moving silently.
Can be attempted each time the thief moves. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on 28. Let me get back to 19, right? So, moving silently is the ability to move with little sound and disturbance, even across a squeaky wooden floor. For instance, it is an ability which improves with experience. It can be attempted each time the thief moves. It can be used to approach an area where some creature is expected, thus increasing chance for surprise, or to approach to backstab, or simply down to pass some guard or watchman. Failure means that the movement was not silent. Success means movement was silent. And over here in the DMG, it says silent movement is the same as a normal movement. Per round as a thief creeps up. Croodles. I never heard of croodles. Have you ever heard of the word croodles?
Croodles. What's a croodle? I like them.
Croodle's a thief.
Oh, croodle's a thief. I thought
No. I'm saying that should be the name of a thief.
Okay.
A pre-gen next year. Don't you think croodles?
Yeah, exactly.
Or croodle. Upon the area or victim, do not inform the thief that his or her dice score indicated. I love when it's in cat. Like Gary's shouting at us. Right. He's angry at us. Do not inform the thief that his or her dice score indicated elastic success at this attempted stealth. If that is the case, he or she thinks the movement is silent and the monster or the victim will inform the character soon enough. But I think a lot of us play it that if I roll behind the screen and I roll a 99, I'm like, you stepped on a twig.
Right.
I guess that is not by the book.
Right.
I like it that at a certain point it's just so bad.
Well, smart players will, if assuming everyone's watching the guy sneaking across.
Oh, can you hear me?
Right. He'll look back and we'll be like,
can you hear me? Well, that is smart. That's a DM. That's a pro tip. That's a player pro tip, right?
Right. If you want to play it as rules, the thief will keep moving back and eventually glance back and go. And they'll go.
And they're like, no. And there's like a dragon just is like. The last thing the thief did. The last thing the thief saw was that the party going this.
That's right. We hear you.
Scarlet Rose.
That's right. And if it's really bad, run.
Run.
That's right.
No, you turn around and they're all gone.
That's right.
Your party's.
That's right. It's bad.
How am I doing, guys? They're just gone.
Well, what's interesting too is, and I know I have to keep reminding myself. In combat, they always want to move silently. And I give because backstab, and we haven't got there, is really the only equalizer that a thief has as far as combat. Their chance to hit is poor. They have poor armor,
few weapons,
but the backstab is the equalizer.
They're not supposed to. Gary says if I go into combat like I did, I'm not going to get a 1.
Right.
My performance evals be terrible, right?
Exactly. You should not be running in there.
Right.
But the idea is they're going to, they want to move silently, and they want to hide in shadows and move silently and do it. Well, that's not how it works. First of all, move silent, only works if you're not being observed. If you're being observed, whether you're silent or not, people can still see you.
Right.
2, you move at you move in exploration rate, and that's sometimes I forget. A lot of times I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to sneak around the thing, move silently.
Exploratory movement.
Right. It's 12 feet per round. They're moving like a foot every 6 seconds.
Oh wait, that literally means 12 feet?
12 feet around.
Per round.
Right.
For a minute.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, because exploration, when you're mapping and doing that, your rate is per turn. Which is, so if you're a 12 movement, you'd move 120 feet per turn.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know if everyone can see this, but if the magic user, the thief is trying to go for around the room, and it's a 50-foot room, it'll take them 5 minutes to move silently around the room.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's not very.
That's not very fast. But of course they want to go, so I said, to me, they would probably have to move their normal movement, and then the last round move silent.
So what you do is you go out in advance. So the clerics bless the party, whatever. They've done all that business. Then the gnome malicious thief goes in. Oh, I'm sorry, he's going in while the cleric is blessing the rest of the party. He goes in because he needs time.
Right. Actually, they have to wait because bless only lasts 6 rounds, so they have to wait a while.
Right. Does the thief have to roll? You got to roll. You have to roll every turn.
Of course.
Oh my goodness.
It's only 12 feet.
So if you've got to move 48 feet, you have to make 4 rolls?
That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
As a DM, you could maybe roll it twice, like with climbing walls, which we haven't gotten to. A lot of times you roll twice, halfway.
The half up, right. And apparently irrespective of the distance.
Right.
Apparently.
400 feet, you roll once. It's no problem. Anyway, so I think you have to be careful with that. Again, you want to give them a break, but also it's not as super powerful as they would like it to be.
Silent can be attempted each time the thief moves. That sounds to me like he's saying, yeah, every 12 feet,
every 12
you
feet
roll.
You have to roll. That's right.
Okay, so this is fun. What I'm learning is this is bad.
Right, it's bad.
So the more we know, the more we learn, the worse it gets.
Right, the worse, the harder it is to be a thief.
Right, thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, look at that. That's an awesome look. He has that look,
Look
doesn't he?
A little bit of a smirk, like you're finally getting it, you idiots.
And what he's saying, he's like, I don't kill you. It's like what Jim Ward says, you players kill themselves. And then I'm like,
that's what
really?
Vic says too.
Really?
Yeah, we don't.
Is that true though?
Yeah, no, it's not. But it makes it feel better.
So I shouldn't have tried to move silently because I have to roll. All right.
Yeah, but I didn't do that for you. Remember, I just said, oh, you could clear the room. So you have to adjudicate. And then the other argument is, well, if there's combat going on and there's fighting and you're trying to sneak around, you really just need the last 12 feet to try.
And we're gonna and after we're done with these, I want to talk about that the classic sort of how do I get a backstab, right? Because that's sort of as a DM, that's what I want to know. I was at the thief say I want a backstab.
Yep.
So let's talk about hiding in shadows.
Yeah, this is another one I love.
It cannot be accomplished under. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta go back to page 27. Hiding in shadows is the ability to blend into dark areas, to flatten oneself, and by remaining motionless.
And there's the key part that everyone forgets.
And it's and I don't think this is an or, right? So it's I'm blending into a dark area, I'm flattening myself, and remaining motionless.
Right.
I think these are all three requisites. These are all requisites.
Right. You
all
don't,
three of these.
Yeah, you don't
hide you have to flatten.
You don't hide in shadows and move.
Right.
People want to hide in shadows and move silently.
You're right.
No, the concept is, yeah, you're hiding somewhere. The monster passes you. The player always wants to adventure hiding in shadows.
Right. I want to hide in shadows and move silently to backstab.
No, that's not how
I can't do that.
No, you can hide in shadows or you can move silently.
Right. Try.
You can try either.
Try to do those.
There's no try.
That's right. And so if there's got to be shadows.
Right.
And there can't be direct observation.
Right.
So
because if the monster has infravision, if it's dark, they're going to see you anyway.
That's right. We'll get to that.
And there's no shadows.
So basically, hiding in shadows is basically I'm hiding.
Right.
Scarlet Rose has discovered the party.
Right.
And I'm going to let them die.
That's right. Peace out.
Peace out.
Or I'm going to wait for an opportunity to spring out and attack.
Well, that's right. So if I hide in the shadows and it comes close to me. Okay, right. So on page 28, it says, cannot be accomplished under direct observation. It can be accomplished with respect to creatures with infravision only if some heat producing light source is near the creature or to the thief. So that because it would be spoiled. It would spoil, of course.
Right.
Success makes a thief virtually invisible until he or she moves. There you go. Note that spells.
But they never read that. They just want to. They want to move silent and they want to hide in shadows.
Well, I get it because what else do they have? They're like, I got 6 hit dice, leather armor, and a dart.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. They're heavy though.
That's right.
Come on, I'm a halfling.
Exactly.
Can't carry
I'm
this.
a half orc. I can only go up to whatever.
Right? Yeah, I'm a half orc, and my dexterity's 9.
Yeah.
Note that spells such as detect invisibility or true seeing will reveal a thief hiding in shadows if such sight is directed towards him or her. Okay, that's not going to happen that often, I would think. And here it is, as is plainly stated. I love it. He's wagging the finger at us.
It's plainly stated, but this is the largest paragraph of all of them to explain things.
And this is never in. Gary's angry. He's writing this, isn't this?
Finger pointing.
This is he is just angry.
He's tired of answering these questions.
He's like writing this. He's like running his group, and he's angry at that.
That's right. It's tired of this nonsense.
Never possible under direct observation or even indirect observation. If the thief insists on trying, I love this, allow the attempt and throw dice. But don't
bother to read it. So basically, this is what you do. So okay, we'll role play. You see 3 orcs and they're guarding the portal.
I would like to hide in shadows. Did I make it?
Yeah, they don't see you.
Great. Okay, I just sit there.
They shoot at you.
Am I dead?
Oh, you're dead.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that was fun.
That was fun.
So for those who are going to do on the podcast,
you know what I'm doing?
I totally ignored the dice roll.
But you know what I'm doing right now?
You real 1E character?
Yeah, I'm rolling a new character.
That's right.
That's when you know 1E people, new schoolers, their character dies and they storm out. New schoolers, they immediately get out their 6-sided dice, and while everyone else is playing, they're rolling up a new guy. What shall I be?
That's right. That's why you have 4 dice.
But let's continue the clause. Oh, the sentence gets better.
Yeah, he's not even done.
As the fool.
As the fool, right. You are a fool. And in fact, I should say that. Fool.
You fool. You're a fool. You're going to have a lot of players.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a good thing Gary was like, Gary.
That's right.
It's like, wow, that's rough, man. It's like that teacher. You're like, oh, man, I'm scared to take that dude. All right, as the fool is as obvious as a coal pile in a ballroom. Well, at least the fool's the player, the character, not me. Likewise, if a hidden thief attempts movement while under observation, the proverbial jig is up for him or her. Well, it sounds like it's up. You move, it jigs up anyway.
Well, I think the idea is if they're hiding, and then someone observes them, you can make a roll. And if they're not, so in other words, they're hiding in the corner.
Yeah.
Someone walks in, you make the roll. If they don't see them, they're still hidden. But once they move, now then the jig.
So you do the hide. So you walk in, you do the hide shadows. You're trying to hide. You do it, and then if you move, then they would obviously.
Right. I mean, the argument is if you're not being observed, your hide shadow should be 100%. You can't do it, in other words, while you're being observed, but you would not roll the hide and shadows until
I agree. Right. So in other
you.
words, you're not right. You're just if someone's not observed, they're not observed.
Right.
I don't care what you're a thief, you're anything.
You're 100%. If a tree falls without anyone
right.
hearing, it doesn't
right.
make a sound.
If I'm not observed, I'm not observed.
Right. So the role would be that if someone comes into the room and you say I was hiding in shadows, that's when it's going to happen.
So right. So even there, so the direct observation, as I think as you're stating it, is that if a person is seen, they can't like disappear into a shadow.
Yeah, they can't melt.
Because I'm going to follow. I'm like, I saw you do that.
Right. You don't see me. You're doing the jazz hands as you're trying to get away from. Right. You can't.
Right. But you obviously, even if you're quote under direct observation, that's what the hide and shadows does. It keeps you from being seen.
If you had made yourself flat into leaves or whatever,
right,
and they walk in, and they don't see you, that's when the roll would happen.
Right.
That's right.
Naturally,
and if you fail, that means you have you have a foot sticking out or something,
and you don't know it.
Right. Which again,
well, they may. I mean, you might know it if they're like, "I see you."
Right. Well, if they say,
they look right.
Or if you don't speak orc, this is why being a demi-human thief is advantageous because you know all the humanoid ones.
That's true. That's a good point.
But again, this is a good opportunity for your friends. Another tip: hey, you're going to stand here and observe. Okay, try to hide in shadows, and we'll look. We see your foot sticking out. That's probably a problem.
That is interesting because you're right. I guess a hide in shadows is an all or nothing for everyone. You either did a good job or you didn't. It's not a per observer.
Right.
So that's right. You should test it out. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. Well, you if your DM allows that, I would allow it.
I would allow it. Can you see me or not?
Right.
Turn away.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you where I go.
Right.
Scan the room.
Turn around, look around. Where am I?
Right. Okay. Naturally, a creature closely pressed in melee is not likely to bother with looking for some thief not directly in the line of sight. But if vision would normally extend a thief's area activity, then observation rules apply. So in other words, if it's melee and they're not looking at me in the melee, I can try to hide in shadows. Right. But if it would be within the vision, then...
Yeah, it's the idea of the peripheral vision is, our minds are set up that we see movement or something. And if they do a pretty good job, they would be not seen.
Okay. Unobserved attempts to hide in shadows must likewise stand the hazard of the dice roll. So unobserved attempts to hide in shadows.
Right. Well, you still have to roll the percentage to see if you.
Oh yeah, right. Well, sure. A score greater than the required number shows that the character's ability is not on a par with his or her intent, and although he or she thinks hiding has been successful, so you always think it apparently. Right. So is that what you're supposed to say?
Right. Yeah.
So the player says, "Did I make it?"
Oh,
you go, "Yes."
Yeah. Right. And you ignore the dice roll.
You go, "Absolutely." Oh yeah.
Right.
You believe you're successful, and the new player is going to hate you.
Oh, exactly. And that's why after 20 minutes they leave.
Right, exactly. The creature looking in that direction will note a suspicious outline, form, or whatever. Oh, so that's interesting. So it's just sort of like, it's not necessarily that you
whereas,
know.
Well, there's something amiss, like the predator.
Right.
You see like a distortion there.
Right. Note also that a thief hiding in shadows is still subject to detection just as he or she were invisible. Okay, I get that. So, all right, well, that's interesting.
So with that, I don't know if this is the next one. I know backstabbing is 3. The reason you're doing all this, besides being sneaky and doing observation, which is a good thing, is to set up the backstab, which again, I know we're passing listening doors and climbing walls, which we'll go back to. But let's talk about backstabbing right now.
You want to jump to backstab?
Yes, right. So backstabbing this is on page 27, is the striking of a blow from behind, be it with club, dagger, sword, as we said. The damage done is twice normal, used for 4 levels of experience. Note that striking from behind also increases the hit probably by +4, because normally it's +2 for a rear
Right, so
attack.
it's better.
So as a thief, you get +4 to hit from rear, which is great, and you do double damage. Now
And it can increase, right? It's triple at 5 to 8.
Yeah, it becomes triple, quadruple, quintuple. Right, a huge amount. Now, typically, I have rolled it that the damage is only to the doubling is only to the dice roll, not to the bonuses. So if you have a +1 sword, let's say, you roll it. Let's say you use a short sword and you backstab. It's a D6 times your multiplier, then add the 1. Other people,
I would do the
other
+1
people
then.
can do. Other people do that. That's a DM. I've seen it done both ways.
Right.
I do it that way.
Well, I'm pro thief.
Right. Well, there's other things that do double damage, and in the DMG it says that the things that do double damage it only does on the dice roll.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Well, that I may have to change that.
and there may be other rules, but I've used the example. I think it's the Sword of Giants Slayer is the one that comes to mind that I recall, which says when it does damage, it specifically says that. So, for instance, Dragon Slayer will do triple damage, i.e., 3 to 36. Because it's D12, and this time they're rolling 3 dice. Or you roll D12 and you multiply 3, and then +4 for 7 to 40.
Okay.
That's where I get that.
Okay.
But
that's interesting. Another conversation.
You could, a DM could be more than, I know Vic when I was playing in his game, I think he did double damage in the whole thing, but there's pros and cons.
Okay. So I was gonna say the nice thing about the backstab is, you can do it with the club, dagger, or sword. So it's not just a pointed weapon.
That's right.
The club can be used too.
So here is where this is the hardest thing for a DM, and you should, if you have a thief, you really need to figure this out beforehand and let the thief know how this is going to work for a backstab. Because I've seen some places say, well, you can't hide in shadows during combat because of the things we talked about, or you can't move silently because of this or that. There would be it would have only be the perfect conditions. Meaning you're sitting there, the monster comes in, and you jump from behind and backstab. Would be the only time you would get a backstab.
Right. So I hide in shadows, and it just happens to wander into a good position. Then I can sort of jump. You would probably, what would you do as a DM? You'd give me like an increased chance of surprise, probably.
Right. Well, not only would it be surprise, but there would be that backstab capability. The issue with it is it says you have to have, then it talks about here, right? Surprise. You have to have.
Is it in the DMG?
Yeah,
or where? It might be in the DMG. So it doesn't talk about backstab, does it? On page 28, does it?
Right. It doesn't talk about it there.
So you got to jump to the DMG. Backstabbing on page 19. Opponents aware of the thief will be able to negate the attack form. And I think because somewhere it's called surprise backstab, right?
Yeah, it's something where it's called surprise backstab. So then you're back to, well, what does surprise mean? So if the party doesn't get surprised, they can never do a backstab. Well, then basically, if you rule that, they'll never do a backstab.
That's no fun. No.
So here's how I've ruled it over the years. Okay, if you're invisible, that's usually makes it a lot easier.
Sure.
That's always good. Or if you want to move into position. So the idea is you can't do it the first. So the party's facing the troll. Here's the troll, and we're fighting. Right. I don't really have a thief here, but let's just argument's sake, she's the thief. The thief should announce, "I'm going to get into position," which means, again, they're moving around the side, trying not to be observed.
So that's so I'm announcing. So I'll say, you say, okay, let's declare action.
Right.
And I'm going to say, and this is always how it goes.
Right.
I'm a thief. I'm going to try to move around.
Right.
And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to play exactly the way you'd hear from a player. I'm going to be hiding in shadows, and I'm going to be moving silently around to get to the back.
Right, and that's not how it works based on what we just read.
Right. So how are you going to play? So obviously you're going to tell me the hide in shadows that's out.
That's right. The hide in shadows for that purpose is out. You're going to first have to get out of because it talks about if you're observed, you can't hide in shadows.
If you're pressed in melee, right? I think it depends how bad the melee is, right? I mean, if it's it might be easier to be unobserved if there's a lot of players attacking.
Well, if everyone's fighting, if it's one creature, or if everyone's engaged in melee, you're not going to be observing someone going around if you're fighting someone. You're going to deal with that. That's the idea. So I always adjudicate. Yes, I'm going to do that. I just got them last week from you. So thank you. He's Vic. Is observing the pieces that I haven't. See, I painted the miniatures, so I'm going to work on that next.
So how would you decide
So
whether
I
or
would
not I'm
decide
able to get into position?
First, they're going to go around.
Is moving silently? Now you're going to have to tell me when I say I try to move silently.
No.
You need to tell me that that's like takes crazy long time.
Right. A, it takes a long time. B, but I'm going to argue in combat, you're not going to have to. I would say they're going to do normal movement till they get. They want to basically get out of the peripheral vision of the guys who are fighting. If that can't happen, there's not going to be a backstab. But let's use the example of we have a troll here fighting 3 creatures. The troll is fixated on the 3. The thief is going to go around. Normal movement doesn't matter at this point.
Right.
At some point when they're out of their observation, I'm going to say they have to do a hide in shadows. That they're basically whatever observing they have, they're going to have to disappear.
So I get my normal. So if these are each 5 feet,
around,
I can get I get it, and I would get then
12 at least. You can go 24 squares.
24, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go back here, right?
Right, and then I'm going to argue you have to make a hide in shadows. That you're basically have to blend in so that any peripheral knowledge of them that they assume that you disappear. Mm-hmm. Then for that last 10 feet, you're going to have to move silently to try to sneak up and backstab. That's the idea.
So in other words, you think you want the hide in shadows to be able to make the surprise backstab part.
That's right. That's the part of you disappearing.
Because you're waiting sort of for like a good movement.
Right, you're hiding behind a box or something like that.
But even though I'm behind them, but isn't that possibly I'm unobserved, just like anyone's unobserved?
Possibly. You could do that. I think there you could adjudicate it one way or another. But at a minimum, you should make a move silently for that last 12 feet. That it's going to take a round as you're sneaking up while they're fighting and going to go in for the back.
Yeah, you could even say something like possibly the hide in shadows happens some other time, right? Like, as you're trying to get out of his observation, that you're sort of like, if we're watching you, at some point you want to disappear.
Right, that's the point.
Right, and at some point you disappear, then he's kind of like, well, he's gone.
He's gone. He ran away.
Exactly, and then you can get up there, but obviously you can't do the backstab.
Unless you're successful in creeping up to him and stabbing in the back, unobserved.
Right, which is doing the hide in shadows roll. Are you doing
move silently roll?
You're doing move silently.
Right.
From behind.
Right. Because they can't see you, in theory, unless they have eyes in the back.
So you're doing a hide in shadows to get out of his vision.
Right.
Then you're doing a move silently so they don't hear it coming back from behind.
Right, for the last 12 feet or so, because they're engaged in combat, and the last thing you're sneaking up and you're shivering.
And I assume in this scenario, I can't both move and so how long is this taking me?
Well, it's taking you a number of rounds.
Because do I have to move? Then do I have to have a turn? So how long is hiding in shadows?
I would say it takes a round, at a minimum.
I mean, it's complicated.
The way I rule it, it's 1 round to get, 1 round to hide, 1 round to sneak up and attack.
Okay, so I can do this in 2 rounds.
At a minimum of 3 rounds. It could take longer.
Oh, 3, and then, right, because the third is the attack.
Right.
So kind of like the move,
the get out of mind's eyes, right?
And then the move silently.
Right.
And I can move silently and attack. Well, assuming I'm in 12 feet.
Right.
Yeah, that's complicated.
It is. Well, but the other way is it'll never work. Now, the reason I say that is because certain creatures, it talks about in page 19, Oaktuk slimes and molds can either negate surprise or have no definable back, meaning they have no back, and they also have eyes behind their back of their head. So, it's very dependent.
Hard to surprise a beholder, probably.
Probably would be very hard to surprise a beholder. Or the gibbering mouther has many.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
That would be
backstab. Cool.
I'm sure someone has
a gibbering mouth or whatever, a gibbering mouth or.
So the point is, it depends, and you need to tell thieves. You better figure that out the rules before you start there, or else you're going to have either overpowered thieves. They're going to be like, "Why are we fighting? Just let the thief backstab everyone."
Well,
and wipe them out.
And you need shadows,
right?
Don't you need a torch or a sconce?
Well, but most dungeon rooms are pretty
right. But you do need shadows.
Right, it can't be pitch black. You can't hide in shadows if it's pitch black.
I mean, I guess the good news is if it's pitch black.
Well, they have.
And they don't. Well, they don't have infravision.
Well, most monsters.
I know they do.
Yeah. Right. Humans would have a different. Now that's in your favor. If you're a demi-human and you're fighting humans and you make it pitch black, well then I would definitely make that only. You only have to do the move silent.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very fun. All
right. But
good stuff.
Again, finding the balance between making it not overpowered, but giving them a chance of doing something cool. Back to if it works and they stab them, because already they have a hard enough chance hitting. If it's AC 5, let's say it's your normal thief, And against, let's say, an orc, AC5, they have less than a 50-50 chance to hit.
Yeah.
Even with the bet +4. So it's, you do all this,
No.
and then you roll.
It's anticlimactic.
Then
you do it all, you make all these rolls.
Yeah, and then you still stink.
Right. Okay, so the other one. So what do we have? Hear noise?
Yep, hear noise.
Now what's interesting is I think your hear noise roll is often less than what it would be a hear doors, right? Just from your racial ability.
Well, it depends on who you are.
But it could be. It could be. So I'm a gnome. A gnome is like a 4 and 20. And I'm a gnome.
Well, if you're a gnome and a 4 and 20,
I think I'm a 4 and 20 to door, aren't I?
So hear noise. What we're talking about here is everyone has a hear noise chance. You could earn keen hearing at some point. That's pretty early.
Oh, keen hearing. So people forget about that. The first time
you roll,
you listen at a door,
right?
You roll for keen hearing. I'm trying to remember what the percentage. Like 71. I mean,
it depends on.
I mean the book. I don't mean percentage. I mean the open doors. Is that what you're looking for?
No, I was looking for hear noise. Aren't we doing hear noise?
Well, yeah, but I want to know chance of keen hearing too.
Right. Well, that's under hear noise.
Well, it's listening at doors. Right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe it's listening.
I think it's either 60 or 97.
That's pretty good. Look at you.
Well, it's in the index. It's 60.
60. Okay.
Listening at doors.
Yep.
So a gnome is 4 and 20.
And the gnome is 4 and 20. Is 4 and 20? Yeah, so that's
20%.
20%. Yeah, it's 20% in the DMG.
Oh, maybe it's so I guess maybe you're never less, but the theory is I think sometimes you're the same.
Right.
Which is weird.
Right. At first level, you're the same as everyone else.
So you
don't get any benefit.
You're not any benefit. But yes, and so the first time, keen-eared individuals will gain a bonus of 1 or 2, 5 or 10%. Would you continue to add that then to their thief score?
Right. I would just, as soon as you told them, say congratulations, and they would have to add it to their thing.
Use chance of hearing noise. So the first time you listen,
right.
The first time you should listen to the door and is indicated, tell the player to note that fact.
Yep.
So it's if you're successful, you're keen-eared. Is that right?
Yes. If you're successful first time, you have keen ears. And
how do you know if it's a 5?
I think you would just roll it.
We'll gain a bonus of 1 or 2 and 20.
I think if you rolled under 5, you get 2. If you rolled under 1, in other words, if you rolled a 1, you get 10%. If it's rolled 2, you get 5%.
2 or higher, because what if I'm a gnome?
Well, right, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. If you rolled the best thing you can get, you get 10%. You rolled not the best, you get 5%.
Right. Loss of hearing. We never deal with that.
No, we don't, and we should. I mean, fireballs are loud.
They are. They are. Okay.
Better idea, set up a room in separate. Yes, I should. You're right. Vic is commenting. Yeah, we got to figure out this now because I like your things. I want to use them for tactical things. It's really we need a combat cam or something like that to help with that. Okay.
So hearing noise. Where I can hear noise where it's listening at doors.
Yeah.
Includes like activity at other portals such as windows.
Sure. It is
accomplished by moving silently to the door. I like that.
Yeah, we don't.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, we don't.
The other side hears you.
Right.
So really, everyone needs to stand back. The thief quietly walks up.
Right.
Boy, this is slowing down the dungeon crawl. It's really a dungeon crawl.
It is a dungeon crawl.
And pressing an ear against it detects sound. Now, I believe you got to take off all your headgear.
Yes, you have to take off your headgear because that talks about that on page 60, and that's where you get the earwigs that can get into you.
Well, we'll talk about it. Is simply listening intently. So, can you only do it for portals and windows, or do you anything?
I do it for walls if it's not a thick wall. If it's if they're in a shack, well, like in the adventure, they were going around the shacks. I would allow them to listen if they wanted to. Yep.
The thief and his. So now on page 28, the thief and his or her accomplices must then be quiet, but not silent as in moving.
Right.
This function can be repeated as often as desired. So that's people don't often realize that. Like attempt to open doors, I think, can be repeated again and again and again.
Yep.
Listening at
after a while, you become fatigued.
Sure.
But it says on page 60, when Dyrwell heard you, character was listening, will hear a clink, footsteps, murmuring voices, or as appropriate. They're be imprecise. So don't tell them that you hear 12 ogres behind the door.
Right.
You hear something. Some's murmuring.
Right.
Could be, maybe it's human, common, maybe it's not. Yep.
Right. And it's a full minute. And I know somewhere it says that you've got to take off.
Yeah, your headgear has to be.
Your headgear.
Yep.
To do that. And so, I think
and it says it on page 19.
Oh,
Thief, just like any other character, must take helmet or other obstructing headgear in order to press his ear to the surface and be heard.
And I know you like I think I suggested this to
Right.
you, and you
I
liked
like
it.
this. Right.
That
The
you
earwig.
they're very rare.
Very rare.
Which
is
is
a 4% chance.
Is that 4% chance?
I think so. It's 2 or 4%.
Let me
frequency.
see.
So what we're looking at is the earwig, which is another troll monster, kind of like the lurker above and the trapper and the mimic.
4%.
Says, you know, it goes into people's ears, comes out of wood.
And it basically just kills you, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
you're in big trouble because do you even know it's there?
No, you may not. It has to make a hit, and if it grafts into your ear, you're pretty much dead.
And so we like it that when you listen at a door,
you have to make
if it's wood.
Yeah, you basically have a 4% chance of an encounter. So if you roll and you
now you don't know it though.
Right,
So you just announce to the player.
Right.
Okay. He collapses.
He kind of just. He kind of.
No one knows why. Just a little bit of blood maybe dripping out of the earth. Whatever. It's like Khan or whatever.
That's right. Khan. Yeah, Wrath of Khan. Ear seeker. That's right.
Right. Because let's make it worse.
That's what I meant. Not at earwig. Ear seeker. Yes.
Ear seeker.
That's
let's
right.
make it worse on Thieves.
So you know, unless you're not going to put in, unless you're going to roll for every door, what the ear seeker is or earwig. That's right. You're going to. You can roll at that point.
Right.
And I think part of that was, at least the way Gary described it, if they're listening at every door,
right,
and they're searching, and the game is grinding down, this is when you can pull this out.
And I think that's put it in, so to speak.
Right.
I think that's exactly what it was. Yeah, because to deter.
To deter just constant of reverse reaction.
You gotta love Wendy, don't you?
Yeah, and then when they don't do that, then they get killed horribly.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Welcome to first edition.
I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we are on to climbing walls. Right, so climbing walls.
Exactly. Climbing walls. Another abused thing.
Right, so climbing walls. Oh, did they talk about it on this? Where is it?
Yeah, it's number 2 near the bottom. Ascending.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Vertical.
Right. Ascending and descending vertical surfaces, the ability to climb up and down walls. It assumes that the surface is coarse and offers ledges and cracks.
And see, to me, then everyone that's like rock climbing. Everyone can rock climb.
But I think somewhere it said, I remember somewhere they said, non-thieves can't climb.
Right, no, they said they can't. That's what they're saying here. But
yeah,
if it has footholds, I could understand if it's a sheer face why thieves can do it, no one else can, because they're trained at. But if it has ledges and rock climbing, it seems stupid, but that's the rule.
Well, yeah, it's when you bring rope. It is assumed that the thief is successful until the midpoint of the climb, which again, I guess it doesn't matter if it's 10 feet or 1,000 feet. You're only doing 2 rolls, right?
Yep.
It would be more interesting if you had to do it like every
I used to do
50
it every
feet.
I used to do it every 10 feet.
Well, because that's more, that's like you're nervous, like you're up to here. That's much more dramatic.
Yeah, we used to do it based on your movement rate, which again is described in page 19.
Yeah.
Non-slippery.
Well, you could make an argument for that. That's right. The midpoint of you could do twice per movement. At that point, the dice are rolled to determine success. A score in excess of the adjusted base chance indicates the thief has slipped and fallen. And of course, if you're using
the real way,
the adjusted,
right, which is 1d10 first, then 3, then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 for every 10 feet. Yeah.
It's sure death.
Yeah, I've had more thieves die from falling or be knocked out than I've ever had them from fighting.
Right, of course. Oh yeah, thieves are always falling. They're climbing statues and falling. Right. They're always falling.
They're drunken. They're like drunken monkeys.
They are. They're like college kids.
That's right. Stumbling up. Spring breakers or just climbing up out of the porch and flying. Trying
to climb up to a balcony and falling.
That's why their wisdom has to be low.
That's right.
No one would climb.
Yeah.
You climb more than 10 feet, you're dead.
Now the good news is, unlike the other scores, the climb walls roll starts pretty darn high.
Yeah, unless you go to page 19, which again is super fun when you have to determine the condition of the surface and the wall describing. Because if it's slightly slippery, doubles the chance of slipping and falling. Slippery surface makes the chance of slipping and falling 10 times more likely. Thus, a slippery surface cannot be attempted successfully at any thief under 6th level. And even a 10th level thief has a 10% chance per round of slipping and falling.
So this is the rate. The rate really doesn't matter though, because you're just doing it. Wait,
that's rate.
Be certain to check each round.
Yeah.
Oh, so this changes. So the DMG changed the rule because he just said the midpoint.
Yeah, I remember doing it every round, but then
You're right.
I would just go back because it was
DMG supersedes, right?
Yeah.
So each
that's
round.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So this is actually if you're gonna have you gotta hit the pause button in the game and be like, okay, what's the height? What's the surface like? And then you got to check each round. And where is the, how do you do the adjust? Oh, there it is. I see. Doubles the chance of slipping and falling. Okay. And most dungeons will fall in a fairly rough to rough category. So I guess what you got to do is if you're writing a module, we got to describe every...
The surface.
How high it is, what's the surface like.
Right. Or you can just do it like we do it midpoint in the other one, and just come up on the fly some arbitrary.
I know, but
penalty.
So if you're playing by the
By
book,
yeah.
if the MG supersedes.
So if it's a 20-foot, think about this. If it's I want to climb up to the top of this, this moldy cavern, slimy cavern. Mm-hmm. It would take 6 minutes if it's smooth, and you have to roll 6 times, and the chance of you doing it is pretty crappy. Yeah. You'll never get up there.
Okay, cool.
That's right.
I like this role.
It'd be easier to make a human pyramid and have people climb up like the something amazing Karamazov brothers or whatever to get up there.
Now this is the one that I think is interesting, is the read languages.
Yes, the read language, another one. So climb walls, again, it's a skill, and it's a skill that you definitely want to. It's something that thieves should do a lot. So again, unless there's some, unless they're being shot at or whatever, a lot of times they'll be like, you can get up there. Even a first level thief.
Right.
What's the chance of if you're going to climb over a fence and you're going to fall and get killed? Really, that should never happen.
I mean, those are kind of some of the roles I maybe should admit. It's kind of trying to fight. I'm just kind of rolling, but I know they're going to make it. And so,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Read languages. Yes. I find this an odd one. So I don't know the language. I've never seen it before, but I'm trained in my ability to read new languages. Am I understanding that right?
Right. They're linguistics.
So why as a thief am I learning linguistics?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Right? I mean, that's a strange class, isn't it? So this is like a normal classroom session at the guild. You go in, there's little desks, and you got like a teacher of languages.
Well, but they do caveat that, and this is something we could do. It says at 4th level, this is on the top of 27, burglars, thieves are able to read 20% of languages, and this ability increases by 5% of each additional level up to 80 probabilities attained. This enables the possibility of instructions and treasure maps without having to resort to magic item or spell. So you could adjudicate this. They can't read everything. They can read certain things that are pertaining to them. Like, when they're casing a joint, they know maps, they know this and that. It's not like they can just read anything off the top.
Well, why can I not understand a treasure? Why can I not? I'm not a thief. Why can I not read certain instructions or a treasure map?
Well, they would be in different languages. That's the idea.
Well, resort to a magic item or a spell. Oh, so they're in different. So it's instructions, and they're in some language.
Cobalt. It's the Cobalt King's treasure map.
And so I can decipher it.
Potentially.
I got to roll, so I don't always know Cobalt.
Right, but you're not reading the Cobalt King's diary. You could read it that way. I'm not saying you have to read it that way, but that it would be a way to read it. Read languages. So in the DMG, the ability assumes that the language is in fact one which the thief has encountered sometime in the past.
Oh, of course. That which the player's handbook giveth, the DMG taketh away. Silly me.
Ancient and strange languages that you as the DM have previously designated are always totally unreadable. So it's not automatic. But then that's where this goes back to the play. Well, how do I know my player character? So you'd have to say, this is ancient whatever you've never seen.
But so it's sort of like the Thieves Guild is like telling you, like, look, there's a good chance when you're doing this job, you're going to run into certain language. So chapter 1, we're going to look kobold.
Right.
Chapter 2, orc.
Well, our territory includes gnomes and dwarves and elves,
well, that's a good point.
And they hand out these things for it. But if you've never seen an ogre, you're not going to be able to know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But even if the ability to read language, the thief should always be allowed only to get the percentage of the meaning that is written in his or her percentage ability. So the rest would have to be guessed at. Language which are relatively close to that will not incur such a penalty. So the question then is, this is a lot of fun times you're going to have here. You're going to have to figure out how much they understand, how close is it relative to the language. So I assume Goblin and Hobgoblin are pretty similar. So if they know Goblin, they probably could do Hobgoblin.
But so I only get, like, if my chance is 20%, I only get 20%.
Right. If you succeed,
like
you get one every 5 words. You figure out.
That would be fun when you have, like, written out and you just give them one every 5 words.
Right.
Figure it out.
Right. You just basically take each sentence and pull a word out. Cat.
Guess that. Yeah.
Lover.
Right. Let's go.
Small man.
What else do we need?
That's right. Got it.
Take us to the treasure.
Right.
Follow me.
Right.
All right.
So then, well, here's the part that's interesting, because then you've got at 10th level. So 10th level, this is on number 4 on page 27. So at 10th level, you can read 50% of a language. But at 10th level, Master Thieves are able to decipher magical writings, utilize scrolls of all sorts, excluding those of clerical but not druidic nature.
So is this including within my percentage? Do I still have to have the percentage roll?
Right. Yep. However,
so in other words, it just adds now at 10th level. I'm still going on the percentage thing, but I'm now clicking in as the ability to decipher magical writings.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, and then I can, and this gets interesting.
Well, I know, I stand corrected. It's saying you have a straight 25% chance. Now, you could argue it should continue to increase.
Oh, I see. I see.
I would say you could read it.
Wait, 25% chance that the writings will be misunderstood.
Right. So first you try to read understanding. So yes, you understand it. This is a scroll of bless. Then you still have a flat 25% chance of
Oh, so you think I need to make the first roll
to even understand what it is?
And then I roll, and there's a 25%
bless
chance.
would not be work because it's clerical. But if it was a magic missile spell, you could have a chance to read it.
Okay, so you think then a 25% chance that I misunderstand it.
And it's different, and those are magical writings, so that could be something that's encrypted. It may not be a scroll necessarily. It could be a spell book. It could be something that's put in. Cramperhand languages would help if you had a helm of that. But it could be cryptid writings that are in magical script. They may not necessarily be a scroll or that. Then you still have the chance. Furthermore, magic spells from scrolls may be mispronounced when uttered, so that there is an increasing chance per level of the spell that it will reverse its intent. So you'd have to adjudicate that, which is super fun.
Okay, and that's that
things you don't have to worry about
too much
because you're 10th level thief. But you're gonna have to figure that out.
Okay, and we know that I can't build strongholds.
Nope.
But I can have a place for a guild, right? A location got to be close to town.
May use a small castle type building to set up for Gang of Thieves.
Okay. If you get, shall we talk quickly about
which again is super fun if you have that kind of game, because obviously if you're taking over a town, you got to fight other gangs.
Right, and you will. That's right. That will happen. I mean, if you have
try to recruit them first, then there'd be a gang war and everything else. Yeah.
But that's very campaigny.
Yeah.
So we talk a little bit about the adjustments because it takes some time, right? You've got to go different places. You start on page 28.
Yep.
Based on your level, and we know classically you start very low with your percentages.
And that's really the big thing is that you think you should be, pickpocket 30% for you have only 1 in 3 chance to pickpocket off a 0 level guy. Even burglars today are able to do more than 30% because they'd all be arrested if it wasn't the case. So to me that seems ridiculous, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. And your race adjusted and your dexterity adjusted, so you have to, it takes some time. You got to flip around, right? Because the dex, it would have been nice if the dex adjustments had been not with the dex, actually with the thieves. But so you got to do adjustments from page 28 and page 12.
Yep.
And it seems to me that, and I think that Rob from our group has mentioned this, there's different types of thieves. Like dwarves are very good at opening locks and finding and removing traps, which makes sense.
Right.
They're not good at climbing walls.
So it depends on what kind of thief you're going to run. Again, humans get no racial bonuses, so they're kind of If you're going to be a power gamer, you could look. Hey, is that the grog line?
No, I don't think so.
So
my wife wondering where I am. It's coming so late.
Yeah, from a net positive, the halfling is the best. In other words, if you want to add up all the bonuses.
Yes. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you removing read languages, did you say? Remove read languages. Is that what you said? Or no? I was like,
no, if you go across.
Forget about read language. Come on, can we? Because look, what I care about is I don't care about my percentage read language because there's some really big ones.
People are passing out because we've taken so long.
I know.
I'm just
are we losing people?
Well, because they live in foreign countries and they're like, oh my God, this is going on.
Okay, I'm going to take out read languages out.
Okay.
Because I think that's who cares?
Yeah.
So the dwarf is plus 15, right? Because we got the 15. They're plus 15.
Right.
The elf is what? It's plus 20?
Right.
So the elf is better.
Overall. You get more bonuses to all your stats.
Right. The gnome is, wow, this is good, 20, 30,
it's
35.
Plus 20.
Oh, that's really good. What was the elf was plus 20?
20, yeah.
So the elf and the gnome are at plus 20. The dwarf is 15.
Right.
Half elf.
It's plus 15.
Oh, so they're down there. Halfling. Oh, this looks pretty good, right? What do you got?
Thank you, Cyber Heston. That's good to hear.
20, 25. Is it plus 30?
Yeah. The halfling's the best as far as...
Right, if you take out read language, it's plus 30. And the half-orc, of course, we know is going to be terrible.
It's plus 15.
It's so rude. Mine is trying to read language like the half-orcs are stupid or something.
Well, they're ignorant. They're ignorant.
So which one was the worst? Half-orc?
Half-orc and, and dwarf.
Oh, that's very interesting.
They're half-orc, dwarf, and elf are plus 15.
And then the...
they're all better.
So really, it's the halfling's the best. Halfling's the best.
Halfling, if you want overall advantage.
Overall, but they're not going to be right. But if you want someone who's good at opening locks and finding root traps, you want the dwarf or the gnome.
Right. Well, you want
preferably
the
dwarf.
If you want finding root traps, open locks, and the other reason, because traps, if they fail, what's typically going to happen to them?
It will detonate.
Well, or there's a poison needle.
Right.
And dwarves get advantage to
that's true. Good point.
For poison.
That's a very good point.
So the dwarf
and gnomes do too, and halflings.
For poison?
Oh, maybe not for poison.
I thought it was
maybe just the spells. I think you're right. It might just be the spells.
Gnomes is for spells.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's right.
So if you want to be that, I'm opening doors and locks, and I'm doing all that. Best one is dwarf.
Right.
Gnome is kind of a combination of that. Then the halfling is best for the sneaky, stabby.
Yeah. It's got the best move silently plus 10, and the best hide and shadows plus 15.
And as a halfling, as we talked about, they have, if they're by themselves, ahead of the party 90 feet, they have an advanced chance to surprise.
Elves too?
And elves.
Elves too, right. And half elves, or no? I can't remember.
I don't remember half.
Okay, so that's right. So there's different types
of thieves.
Right. But you should probably be a dwarf or a halfling. Is that what we're saying?
Right.
If you're not a dwarf or a halfling, maybe you're multi-class or something.
Well, and again, the human is at a big disadvantage because they don't have infravision.
What kind of thief am I? So I want to. I'd like to be happy. Can I now, as we end the thief? Are we ready to end the thief segment?
Yeah, we've been ready.
Can I sneak? Yeah. Can I sneak into David Thompson's room and pickpocket him? So what do I need to do? I want to listen. Can I move? I'm going to go quietly up to his door. Don't I have to do that first? I'm level 1.
You want to sneak in? Wait, first.
I'm going to go to his door to listen quietly.
Okay. Well, first you have to. I have to roll. If you move silently toward the door.
I can't look. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm not going to know.
Right. Okay. What's your chance?
Well, let's just say. Silently. All right. Well, I'm just doing. Well, I'm a halfling, and I have an 18 dex. So hang on. It's 25 to make things longer.
Yeah.
It's 25. Hold on. It is 35. Okay, so I move up. You don't know if I made. I don't know if I made it or not.
You made 35 total.
35 is my total.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm moving up.
I know what roll you had.
Okay, I want to hear noise.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's anything in there or not. So you got to roll. So I don't know. You know, it's pretty. It's like.
What's your chance?
Like it matters. 15. Hang on. Oh, it doesn't matter. 15.
Okay. So I don't know what laws for shotguns and weapons they have in Australia. I think they banned a lot of things, but as you're creeping up towards the thing, and I'm
starting to open the line.
Well, you haven't got that far. You're putting your ear towards the thing. You hear the voice of ex-Thane / now Chamberlain's most august Australia going, "Who is at my door? You're terrible. I heard you from a mile away. Literally, you just walk. It's like you clotted up.
UPS. Delivery.
Amazon.
Do I have so all right, so that didn't work. See, that's being a thief.
So now you run away.
No, I'm going to try to open the lock.
Okay. So you're as you're trying to explain
this, is the door locked? Yeah, does I find the door locked?
Yeah.
Yes,
of course it is.
I'm going to try to open.
All right, so
let's see.
Well, you can roll open lock. You should know.
That's right. I should know, right?
32. Did you open?
32. Let me see. Open lock. So I'm a halfway. That's not great. 25. Oh, I do get +5. That's 30. Oh, and I got a dex. That's going to work, isn't it?
I think.
Oh, this is awesome. We want this door to open. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you pop. You open the door. Now,
so I open the lock.
What's your strength?
Oh, I'm a half. Let's just roll 3 dice, 6 maybe.
Yeah. 1. Can you be a thief if you're 5 or less?
Oh, no. I thought I was a thief. This is going to go poorly. Yes, 7.
Okay, good.
Wait, 7 strength. Yes, I can be a thief. I have a 7 strength.
So now you try to open the door.
All right. What do I need?
A 1.
Is this a stuck door?
Of course, it's a normal dungeon door. What do you mean?
He needs to open his doors. How does he get to bed each night?
He's a large man. Have you seen him? You're a small little halfling.
All right. I'm like,
So then he goes back to bed because it's going to take you a number of minutes to. He's actually getting his weapon out.
All right, give me a pickpocket. He's actually giving me 1 pickpocket.
Okay. Chance. So actually, after a while, he opens the door because he's tired of you trying to open it. He looks down at you and goes, "What do you want?"
I'm hiding in shadows. I'm not going to backstab.
Okay, here, hide in shadows. I'm not looking at the dice because it doesn't matter. Because
I'm a fool.
You're a fool. Oh, you would have made it if you weren't doing it.
Wait, it was under direct observation.
Yeah, it was a direct observation. You opened the door.
All right, I'm going to try to pickpocket while he's looking.
All right, go ahead. Oh, you want to see?
While he's looking.
What's your chance?
30. He's looking. That doesn't help, does it? 30, 35, 45.
You know, I rolled a 45. So
yes! And then I run.
And then
Can I run? Does he get opportunity attack?
He
Here,
gets
die
an
20.
attack.
See, it does. I'm like a good dex. 2! I'm out of there, baby! Yes!
Wow.
Woohoo! What did I get? Lint?
Thank you. Well, we'll have to roll that later.
There is a Dragon's Foot has a very cool table for our random pickpocket.
So if you're a patron, we will come to your house and steal. We'll break your door down. We'll open your lock, and then when you come out to investigate, we'll come steal from you.
Yes, he's gonna wake up in the morning. He's like, "Where is what happened to my cell phone?"
Wow, that's awesome.
I stole his cell phone.
That is incredible.
You think he had like one of those nightcaps, like Ebenezer Scrooge? You know what I mean? Those little hats. Like a little gown.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like we'll have him to send a picture.
There's no pockets.
He's asleep.
What was
now.
I picking?
Hey, you'll have to call him later. Ask him all that. All right. Okay. So Cyber Heston, if you want us to come to your house and break in, just let us know. We'll be happy to do that. Well, next week is Assassin, so we may just assassinate you, or at least try to assassinate you. So. Or maybe so just let us know if that's what you want. We'll be happy to do that.
See, it was worth, thank you, Cyber Heston. It was worth waiting for.
That's right.
Staying through the whole segment.
3 hours.
3 hours later.
That's
I know there's a Gator game starting.
I know, we gotta get going. Okay, so, please do. Okay, we're gonna assassinate Cyber Heston.
All right, Cyber Heston is on the list for an assassination.
Okay, next week.
All right. Role-playing assassin. I don't need the FBI
yes, that's right. We are not. This is role-playing. We're not actually going to murder our patrons. I think.
Right.
I don't think
Disclaimer.
we don't have that many patrons, and murdering was this. So, hey, Cyrus, if you can do info at GROGTALK to give me some idea of your not your real house, just general things, so I can make sure he doesn't.
Not his address.
Yeah, I don't want your address. I don't want pictures of it. Just whatever protections that you want me to include as
like
part
a lock,
of this.
Poison needle trail.
Right.
Well, I should know about any of this.
Right. Yeah, you should know. So just let me know what you want me to add as far as, and we'll be happy to do this.
Yeah, because he needs protection.
Right.
He knows we're coming.
I assume you're not just you're not a psycho killer. You're just murdering people.
No, he knows there's a hit on him.
Right.
Cyber Heston owes money to the Thieves Guild. And the Thieves Guild has hired an assassin,
right? So
to take care of stuff, right?
So in fact, give us a little backstory of why the Assassins Guild is coming after you.
This could be an incomprehensible death segment too.
That's exactly.
I love
and if it goes really well, if it comes together, let's just poison, put him to sleep. Thanks. Yeah, we could do that.
That could be a regular segment, maybe like the assassination segment.
That's right. Well, because if that's the case, then depending. I don't know if you have Skype. Maybe we'll just have you Skype on at that for next week. We could just do that. Have you get a attempted assassination.
Sounds great to me. And you know what kind of assassin I'm going to be? Cleric assassin. You know half where Cleric assassin's coming. Yeah. And so my deity is Bagtrue. I love Bagtrue.
It's Bagtrue, the stupid one, right? The not as intelligent. The dummy one, right?
Okay, that's rude.
Okay.
That's rude.
He's intelligently challenged. Yeah, again, no pressure. If you send me the notes, great. If you want to get on, that's great
Intelligence is relative. Okay.
Well, not for him. His intelligence is like 4 or something, or 5. He has almost a little bit more. Okay. Well, yeah, use it. Well, we would love that. All right, great. Suggestion. Do you have a suggestion this week?
Well, I want to suggest, I probably already have, but the Porcelain Sword of Queen Ashala, because I went through that adventure.
Yeah.
It was a ton of fun.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'll edit it later. Go ahead.
I had a ton of fun.
Yep.
So, it's available on Castle Entertainment.
It is.
Right?
For our patrons, they will be getting it as a PDF. I have to talk to him because I know he says he's going to do further revisions, so I don't know if we want to send it to the version that he's now.
And it may not be available yet, so I think you may need to wait for it.
Yeah, so I have to follow up with him. So we may send you 2 versions. We may send you the version that he sent us, which is the pre-release version, which is the one he sent. And then there will be a final version because he does play testing and he puts that out too. So you'd actually get 2 copies of it. That's a great example. My suggestion, and I'll put that, if there is a link, I'll put that there. The second item is, for me, is I was reading about OSR, and there's been a lot of movement on OSR, and there was kind of like the old school primer that you suggested. There was another one, and I'll send the link, and I apologize, I didn't write it in my notes, but very good at the flavor of 1E and how to run 1E. We've talked about that, how, you know, it's more about exploring, it's not about railroading, it's about XP is important for treasure gathering. It's, you know, there's a lot of attributes of it, and I thought it did a really good job of it, so I'm going to put that out there. That's my suggestion.
Great.
I'll put the links in there.
And can I also do just a real quick shout out? So we got some conventions coming, we got some 1E gaming coming. So Alan Grohe is right now at TsunamiCon in Wichita, and he's running 2 sessions. I mean, you pretty much have to be there already, but he's running 2 sessions of Introduction to the World of Greyhawk and AD&D First Edition. So I wish him well. Hope his sessions went well. And of course at Gamehole, October 31st to November 3rd, we have friends of the show that are running a Carlos Leising is running 3 1E games. David Aho, who I know from GaryCon, is running 1E games, and Chip Pearson, who I know Vic knows Chip Pearson, if I recall correctly. I went through a game with Chip. He's a great DM as well. So, and others. So if you're looking for a 1E game and you're in the Midwest, Gamehole coming up has got a lot of 1E games, so I wish everyone there well.
I mean, that would be great if we could figure out how to. I mean, you know, it's always hard to get time off from work and everything else, but it would be super fun to go to something in the fall and then do GaryCon in the spring.
And and probably did. I'll probably mispronounce his name. My apologies.
All right, and we've got some future guests coming up potentially. We're working on that as well. So let's roll for our D10. See how we did.
All right, let's do it.
We've gone long. I'm giving a -1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right, that's fair, right?
2
to 1.
That's about right.
It's our worst show ever.
Well, it's our worst show because we went long. And
yeah, but now what's the good news? You know what the good news is?
It can only go up from here.
Only get better.
That's right. Well, and only reason because, you know, when we have our dear listeners falling asleep because it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
When your most dedicated listeners are going to sleep.
Right. No, but Thieves
we deserve to have his pocket pick.
No, but yeah, well, that's true. Thieves have a lot to it, and I think you know, we could spend another hour. I think in some ways they're the most complex because they have these skills that you want to encourage as a first edition old school. You know, you want them to think out of the box and use these creatively, but the tension is you don't want it abused. So we're on YouTube. We're on we're on Twitter. We're on website. We're on. I think the people who listen to us, they realize we jibber jabber and spend a lot of time on this.
This is what makes us different.
That's right. We're on Google Play, iTunes. Please review, like, and subscribe. If you have requests for future items or guests, info@grogcon.com. We are going to start thinking about GrogCon as soon as possible. Over the next couple weeks, if you're our patron, you will have a exclusive video where we're going to talk about GrogCon. We're not going to do it today because we're already 3 hours into it. But maybe next week or the week after, we're going to sit down and talk about our future things. So, on behalf of, I'm Dan. I'm James.
I'm Dan,
and Go Delicious.
From Go Delicious.
And thank you so much. And we will see you next time on GROGTALK.